Chapter 128. I don't know when a group of zombies appeared in the mass grave outside the city, and a bunch of evil creatures are heading towards our snow city. Early in the morning, no one knew where the news came from, but everyone in the streets and alleys knew about it. The evil creatures are coming. Master White and Master Wu are going to make a move this time, right? That would be strange. 15 years ago, didn't they rely on the guide team to lead the evil creatures away? Sigh, Master White and Master Wu are so strong, why don't they make a move? In the auspicious inn, many diners were talking at once. At the counter, Wang Zhong was taking notes with a brush. When he heard what the customers were saying, his eyebrows furrowed slightly. He didn't expect that other than the evil creatures, there would be a large group of zombies. Wang Zhong had heard about the group of zombies. It could be said that the group of zombies was a higher level than the ordinary evil creatures. When zombies appeared, they would appear in groups. They had a physical body, and when they caught a person, they would bite their flesh. It was very cruel. The masters in the city lord's mansion are used to enjoying themselves. They won't make a move unless the situation is urgent. A diner might have drunk too much, so he couldn't help but mock. Li-Er, you're crazy. If the masters heard this, I'm afraid you'll be dragged to the guide team. Hearing this, Li-Er trembled and sobered up a little. Sorry, I said too much. Well, it's better to keep your voice down. Anyway, I heard that many people in the guide team died this time. I heard that 8 of the team leaders died. 3 of the team leaders died. Even the team leaders died so many times. Those team leaders were all experts who cultivated qi. Someone exclaimed. So what if they cultivated qi? Not only are there many evil creatures outside, once the group of zombies appears, there must be a strong evil creature controlling the group of zombies. Those team leaders will still die if they encounter a strong evil creature. This is troublesome. This is more dangerous than 15 years ago. I really don't know how the city lord's mansion will handle this. If the city is not handled well, the evil creatures will break into the city. Then won't we? Hearing this, the diners at the table all changed their expressions and became restless. Without a doubt, once the evil beings outside the city rushed into the city, it would be troublesome. They were only ordinary people. How could they deal with those brutal evil beings? Everyone, don't be so suspicious. Everyone has to believe in the city lord. They will definitely think of a way. When Wang Zhong heard this, he sighed. In truth, their city had 2 levels. Ordinary people lived in the outer city, while the city lord's mansion lived in the inner city. There were many experts in the inner city, and the city walls were dozens of meters tall. Even if the outer city was breached, the city lord's mansion would be fine. However, Wang Zhong also believed that the ordinary citizens were the foundation of the city lord's mansion. Unless it was absolutely necessary, the city lord's mansion would not abandon these ordinary citizens. However, he did not know what the city lord's mansion would do next. Wang Zhong was lost in thought when he saw a commotion outside the door. He saw a group of constables running quickly. One of them was a chief constable who was riding on a horse. He shouted to the crowd on the street. Listen up, the guide team suffered heavy casualties yesterday. The evil beings are coming here. The city lord has ordered that all those who have a level 2 spiritual root and are under the age of 14 report to the city lord's mansion. All those who have a level 3 spiritual root and are under the age of 24 report to the city lord's mansion. All those who have a level 4 spiritual root and are under the age of 34 report to the city lord's mansion. All those who are above the age of 34 must go to the city lord's mansion today. If you defy the order, you will be punished for the crime of rebellion, and your whole family will be executed. The order is to recruit volunteers to join the guide team. Those who join the guide team will be rewarded with 5 taels of silver. In the future, they will be paid 2 taels of silver every month. This is the notice. I hope everyone can pass it on. The chief constable showed the notice in his hand and shouted to everyone on the street. Everyone, now that Snow City is in danger, my family is also in the city. I hope that those who are knowledgeable can join the guide team to lead the evil beings away and protect the peace of Snow City. Please. All right, to the next street, let's go. Go, go, go. The group of people quickly left, leaving behind 2 junior constables who held a few notices and quickly pasted them on the street. The contents of these notices were the same as what the chief constable had said. However, at the back, it was written that as long as those who volunteered to join the guide team, not only would they be rewarded handsomely, but they would also be rewarded handsomely if they killed a powerful evil being. At the end, it was also written that if the volunteer died, the city lord's mansion would compensate them with 10 taels of silver as compensation. Although this amount of silver was nothing to a wealthy family like Wang Zhong, to an ordinary family, 3 taels of silver was enough to cover half a year's worth of expenses. Therefore, when some of the poorer people saw this, they started to have some thoughts about it. Wang Zhong wore a mask and squeezed through the crowd. After a few glances, he gradually understood. I didn't expect the conditions for volunteers to be so good. It's a pity that the conditions for those with low spiritual roots are not so good. Wang Zhong shook his head and sighed. Those with low spiritual roots were forced to join the guide team. Therefore, other than the monthly 2 taels of silver, there were no other benefits. If they died outside, they would just die. Therefore, those with low spiritual roots were not worth their lives. They were called the death team. However, there was one thing that was the same, and that was the handsome reward for killing a powerful evil being. For example, if they killed a ghost general, they would be rewarded with a gold ingot. A gold ingot was equivalent to 100 taels of silver. However, according to the passers-by, the so-called ghost general was an evil being that controlled zombies. Wherever the ghost general appeared, there would usually be many evil beings around it. It could control many evil beings, and its strength was incomparably strong. Therefore, it was difficult to deal with the ghost general. It was really too difficult. When Wang Zhong returned to the inn, Zhao Dahai had just returned from outside. He stared at Wang Zhong and sighed. Xiao Dong, follow me into the house. Got it, father. The two entered the house. Wang Zhong looked at his old father in front of him, and found that Zhao Dahai's back was hunched even more. Zhao Dahai seemed to have aged 10 years today. He came into the house and sighed. I just went to visit an old friend. He was a soldier in the city lord's mansion. He told me that the guide team yesterday, other than the few captains, vice captains and sergeants, the rest of the soldiers were all dead. Wang Zhong's heart thumped. All dead? Yes, it's like this. A few days ago, a captain found traces of a ghost general in the mass grave. Generally speaking, the discovery of a ghost general must be dealt with in advance. Otherwise, once the ghost general appears, it will be very troublesome. So they gathered their men and surrounded the mass grave. But they didn't expect that 2 ghost generals would appear. Not only that, there was a ghost general with over 100 years of cultivation. It led countless corpses to surround the guide team. In the end, the guide team suffered heavy casualties. Only a few experts managed to escape. Zhao Dahai's information was very useful to Wang Zhong. From this, he also understood that the so-called guide team was not just a motley crew. Although the soldiers below were ordinary, they were basically people with low spirit roots who were forcibly sent over. But some of the captains were still quite strong. The weakest in the guide team were the soldiers. Above them were the sergeants. The so-called sergeants were actually the squad leaders. With some martial arts, they would normally lead 5 people. Above the sergeants was the captain. A captain would normally lead 5 sergeants. Under the captain was the vice captain. His role was to assist the captain. In addition, if something happened to the captain, then the vice captain would lead the team. No wonder the city lord's mansion wanted to recruit so many people. Wang Zhong said. Zhao Dahai said in a deep voice. This is not the most troublesome thing. I received news that this time, the people who are 14, 24, and 34 years old are being recruited. But this batch of people doesn't seem to be enough. The city lord's mansion is now thinking of recruiting people who are 23 and 33 years old. If these 2 groups of people are also being recruited, it is very likely that they will recruit people who are 13 years old. Wang Zhong nodded. He knew what Zhao Dahai was worried about, because in half a month it would be the new year, and at that time, he would be 13 years old. Chapter 129. Bang 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 bang. In the blink of an eye, it was the end of the year. After today, everyone was 1 year older. As for Wang Zhong, he was already 13 years old. As for Lin Wu, she was already 16. Compared to the bustling new year in the past, this year's new year was especially quiet. Many people had already packed their belongings and were waiting to leave Snow City. The reason was self-evident, because the zombies outside the city were getting closer and closer. Half a month ago, the zombies outside the city had attacked the mass graves and countless zombies had rushed here. In one night, the guide team had suffered heavy casualties, and only a few captains, vice-captains, and sergeants had survived. Although the mayor's office had recruited soldiers, and under the leadership of a few captains, they were prepared to lure the zombies away from the city. But the plan had failed again. The new guide team had only lured the zombies a few kilometers away, and the zombies had actually changed their direction and were heading towards Snow City. The crisis had come again. The news spread into the city, and for a moment, everyone in Snow City was in a state of panic. Even though it was the new year, everyone had lost the festive mood. In the auspicious inn, Zhao Dahai and the others were the same. They had already packed their belongings and were waiting with the housekeeper and a few servants, waiting for the bad news to arrive so that they could leave immediately. Everyone listen, although you are my servants, but after so many years, I, Zhao Dahai, have already treated you as my family. If you don't want to leave, I will give each of you 10 taels of silver, and you can stay here. Zhao Dahai looked at his servants and said, Shopkeeper, I oldly have been your servant since young. Wherever you go, I will go. Li Bo pulled his wife and quickly said. The rest of the servants nodded. Good, don't worry, when the time comes, we will leave here and go to the county next door. At that time, I, Zhao Dahai, will have a bite to eat, and will not let you down. Just as Zhao Dahai finished speaking, there was a knock on the door. Because of the horde of zombies outside the city, all the shops on the street were closed, and the auspicious inn was no exception. Hearing someone knocking on the door, Zhao Dahai frowned and shouted, Let's go. We won't be doing business for the next few days. Old Zhao, it's me, Laolin. Lin Prefecture's anxious voice rang out. Laolin. Zhao Dahai hurriedly ran over to open the door, and saw Lin Prefecture pushing a cart full of his family's belongings. His wife, Xiaoji, followed behind him. She was also carrying bags of various sizes. She had always been a well-dressed lady, but now she looked like a refugee. It was a funny sight. At this moment, Lin Wu was also at the side, carrying a few bags. Laolin Yu. Without waiting for Zhao Dahai to finish, Lin Prefecture hurriedly said, Let's talk inside. Then a few people helped to move the luggage into the house. Old Zhao, if the city can't be defended, let's escape together. Lin Prefecture said as soon as he entered the house. We can take care of each other on the road. After all, I'm only a man. My wife and daughter are both as pretty as flowers, so we won't be targeted by thieves. Lin Prefecture looked rough, but his mind was quite meticulous. Xiaoji cried and said, Brother Zhao, please help us. Our house was robbed just now. Ah, what happened? Wei Yin quickly asked. Just now there was a group of people fleeing. They suddenly rushed into my house and took all the bacon that was drying at the door. I went out to stop them, but I didn't expect they would humiliate me. Xiaoji wiped her tears. Now Xiao Wu came out in time and stopped them. Otherwise, sob sob sob. My body would be dirty, and I wouldn't be able to face anyone. Hearing this, everyone in the house was very angry. This is ridiculous. The evil creatures outside haven't even attacked yet, and we're already in a mess. Zhao Dahai said. Sigh, it's a pity that the world is in chaos now. We don't know where the constables are. We can't catch them even if we want to. Lin Prefecture said angrily. But I didn't expect Xiao Wu to know Kung Fu. Wei Yin said. This child has been practicing Kung Fu since she was young. Lin Prefecture looked at Lin Wu with satisfaction. Lin Wu suddenly stood beside Wang Zhong and said embarrassedly, Xiao Dong taught me. This? Xiaoji was stunned. Xiao Dong taught you? Xiao Wu used to come here to watch me practice, so I taught her a little. Wang Zhong said. I see. Xiaoji nodded. Mother, you won't be angry, right? Lin Wu looked at Xiaoji. Lin Prefecture said. What's there to be angry about? You two are already married. A few days ago, Sun Dania's family came to talk about marriage, but I chased the matchmaker away. Seeing how close the two of them were, Xiaoji sighed. Fine. Although Xiao Dong's life is short, since you two are so loving, as your mother, I can't break you two up. As she spoke, she walked in front of Wang Zhong. Xiao Dong, don't blame Auntie, it's just that. Auntie, you don't have to say any more. I understand. Please don't worry, I found a way to live. In order not to worry his family, Wang Zhong decided to release some news to make them feel more at ease. Really? Zhao Dahai was surprised. Yes. Wang Zhong nodded solemnly. If that's the case, then that's great. Now that evil creatures are running rampant outside, the future of our city is unknown. Since there's nothing else, we might as well let the two of you get married here. Lin Prefecture said, looking at his wife worriedly. Unexpectedly, Xiaoji nodded without hesitation and said, well, let's get married. Otherwise, if the evil creatures enter the city, I don't know if we'll have a chance to get married. After saying that, she wiped her tears with a handkerchief. Obviously, she was worried about what to do in the future. Haha, since mother and grandfather have said so, I'll hurry up and cook a few dishes. Zhao Dahai rubbed his hands. Li Bo, why don't you go to the kitchen to live? Yes, master. The other servants also prepared. Zhao Dahai laughed and said, today, I'll cook personally. Wang Zhong and Lin Wu looked at each other. Lin Wu lowered her head and turned her head away embarrassedly. I'll go and clean up. Why did it seem like they were going to get married? Wang Zhong was a little dumbfounded. Although he felt that it was a little childish, seeing everyone so happy, he couldn't say anything. Soon, Zhao Dahai cooked 2 tables full of dishes. Because there were so many people, they put the 2 tables together and arranged the chairs one by one. Zhao Dahai was a good cook. The dishes were delicious. There were chicken, duck, fish, braised pork, and all kinds of dishes. In total, there were more than 20 dishes. Then, he took out some good wine and everyone sat down. Zhao Dahai said with emotion, I've been in the restaurant business all my life. I didn't expect to leave here. But fortunately, before I leave, I can see my son marry Xiao Wu. I'm very happy. Lin Prefecture also took out a wine glass. Cheers. At this moment, Wang Zhong was pulled to the room by the maid Sui. Lin Wu was already wearing a red dress and a red hood, waiting for Wang Zhong to come. Wife. Wang Zhong entered the room. Let's go out and do the wedding ceremony. Okay. Lin Wu nodded embarrassedly. Because of the chaos outside, the wedding ceremony was simple. Wang Zhong still knew a little about the general etiquette, so he didn't need others to remind him. After that, Wang Zhong carried Lin Wu on his back and walked towards the main hall. First, bow to heaven and earth. Second, bow to the parents. Husband and wife, bow to each other. With Li Bo's loud voice, Wang Zhong and Lin Wu officially went through the wedding ceremony. After today, the two were officially married. Then the two took the wine and poured wine for the parents in the hall. After everything was done, Xiaoji also let go of her thoughts. She took Wang Zhong's hand and said, our daughter will be handed over to you. You have to treat her well. Don't worry, mother-in-law. Wang Zhong nodded. Okay. Everyone eat at the table. This time, everyone had a good time eating. However, no one expected that while everyone was eating, the door would suddenly be kicked open. A bailiff rushed in with an official document in his hand and shouted, the corpse tied outside the city is approaching. The guide team has suffered heavy casualties and is in urgent need of manpower. The city lord has ordered that all men aged 13, 23, and 33 years old should report to the city lord's mansion. Those who disobey will be regarded as rebellion, and their whole family will be executed. Chapter 130. What? Zhao Dahai stood up. Another conscription. When the constable was about to leave, Lin Prefecture rushed over and shouted, wait a minute. Zeng. The constable suddenly pulled out his sword and shouted, I still have official business to attend to. Those who disturb official business will be killed without mercy. These constables, why are they so overbearing now? Wang Zhong frowned, but he did not impulsively retort. Instead, he cupped his hands and said, "Brother, please don't be angry, we just want to ask clearly." Yes, we want to ask something." Zhao Dahai took out 10 copper coins. "Brother, please make an exception." After receiving the money, the constable's face softened and nodded. "It's not that I don't want to talk. It's just that I still have to go to more than 20 houses. I'm busy with official business. If you want to ask anything, please hurry." "Didn't they just start conscription half a month ago? Why are they conscripting 13-year-old children now?" Zhao Dahai asked. It's so simple. To be honest, more than half of the soldiers that were recruited half a month ago have been killed or injured. The city lord's mansion has even sent out the city lord's personal guards. Even half of us constables have been sent out. As he spoke, the constable glanced at Wang Zhong. "You are Zhao Xiaodong, who only has a level 2 spirit root. Hurry up and go. Before you go, it's best to find a few things to save your life. It's best if you have a good relationship with the captains. This way, if something happens, they can help you." "Little brother, how many more days until the corpse tide comes?" Zhao Dahai asked. "About a day or so." "Hey, I see that you are packing big and small bags. Do you want to leave the city?" the constable asked. "Yes. I advise you to give up on this idea. Now that the city gates are closed, no one is allowed to leave the city." How can this be?" Xiaoji suddenly became anxious. "Yes, isn't this deliberately trying to kill us?" Zhao Dahai anxiously said. You think it's okay to leave the city? Not long ago, 3 families escaped the city in the middle of the night. But didn't they still come back? Now that Snow City is surrounded by evil creatures, you think you can survive if you leave the city? I'm afraid no one will be there to collect your corpse. I didn't expect it to be like this." Zhao Dahai sat on the stool blankly. "Alright, I still have work to do. Goodbye." After putting away the copper coins, the bailiff quickly left. "If there's really no other way, I'll use my connections. Xiaodong, you don't have to be a soldier anymore. Our families will run away tonight," Zhao Dahai said after some thought. "But didn't that person say that the outside is already surrounded by evil beings?" Xiaoji asked. For a moment no one spoke. The atmosphere was terrifyingly gloomy. Wang Zhong looked at the big family in the room and finally stood up, saying, "Everyone stay here." "Xiaodong, do you have any ideas?" Lin Wu asked. In the past, when there was no corpse tide, no one dared to go out. From time to time, passers-by would be killed outside. Now that the corpse tide is coming, it will only be more dangerous outside. Although it's dangerous inside the city, at least there's a wall to block it. Moreover, it's full of people. The masters won't let evil creatures enter the city, so we don't have to be afraid for the time being. Wang Zhong stood up and drank the wine. "As for me, I'll report to the mayor's residence immediately." "No." Wei Yan suddenly became anxious. "Your father and I will use our connections to not let you become a soldier." "Yes. Didn't you hear that many of the guides died? Do you know what we call the guides in private? They're suicide squads. If you go now, you'll die." Xiaoji didn't want her daughter to lose her husband right after she got married, so she anxiously shouted, "It's okay. I can protect myself." Wang Zhong shook his head, but Lin Wu grabbed his arm. "Xiaodong, don't. I've been learning martial arts since I was young, just for this moment. Everyone, let's eat. After dinner, I'll report to the mayor's residence." This meal everyone had a bad taste. When they were almost done eating, Wang Zhong put down his chopsticks, picked up his bronze sword and some luggage, tied a water bottle around his waist, and walked out of his house. "Brother Xiaodong." At this time, Zhao Rong's ghost floated over. "Sister Rong, I'm going to join the army. I wanted to take you with me, but the evil creatures outside are too strong. You should stay here and take care of your family," Wang Zhong said. "Brother, be careful on the road. I'll take care of your family." When Zhao Rong spoke, the Huang clan also came out. Wang Zhong nodded to her and walked out. "Father, mother, father-in-law, mother-in-law, Li Bo, Sui Sui." Wang Zhong called them one by one, and finally came in front of Lin Wu. "Xiao Wu, don't worry. I've already prepared for this trip. Don't forget, I've learned from Gao Jinren for some time, so I still have some tricks up my sleeve. So don't worry about me. I'll ask someone to send a letter when I get there." After saying that, Wang Zhong bowed heavily, picked up his sword and left. Wang Zhong didn't look back as he left. On the previously bustling street, there were only pedestrians hurrying about. Some people rushed to the city gate with big and small bags, while others came back from the city gate. Obviously, just as the constable said, the city gate was closed, and no one was allowed to go out. Although some people knew about this, they still wanted to try their luck. Wang Zhong ran to the city lord's mansion. When he arrived, he saw many men standing in the square. These people were lined up in 5 rows, and they were registering one by one. Wang Zhong walked to the middle of a group of young people. He was the only one here, and he was only 13 years old. I can't believe that I, Duan Su, am so unlucky. I have to go out of the city to deal with evil creatures at the age of 23. It's a pity that I haven't married and had children yet. I hate this. Stop cursing. The kid behind you is even more unlucky. He's only 13 years old. A strong man next to him snorted. Duan Su turned to look at Wang Zhong. It's you, shopkeeper Zhao's son. That's right. Wang Zhong was expressionless. Speaking of which, you're really unlucky. Duan Su sighed, but he didn't complain. After a while, it was finally their turn to register. Name: Wang Zhong, 13 years old. Level 2 spiritual root talent. Wang Zhong said to the old man in front of him. The old man nodded and found Zhao Xiaodong's name on the long list. Then, he picked up a piece of hard paper and wrote his name on it. Finally he said, "Mark it. From now on, this will be your identity as a guide. Later, follow the team into the city lord's mansion. Naturally, there will be someone to receive you." Thank you. Wang Zhong pressed his thumb on the red ink and marked on the paper. Then, he took the paper and walked towards the city lord's mansion. I remember that you're Zhao Xiaodong, right? Duan Su walked in front and walked over as if they knew each other. Yes. Wang Zhong nodded. Hey, speaking of which, we're really brothers in distress. Duan Su glanced at the bronze sword in Wang Zhong's hand and revealed an envious expression. You're indeed from a rich family. You even brought a sword out. It's for self-defense against evil creatures. The two chatted casually and soon entered the city lord's mansion. What surprised Wang Zhong was that the square behind them was even bigger. At the moment, the square was full of people. These people were all wearing bamboo armor and holding various weapons. They stood majestically in square rows. Newcomers, follow me. A brawny man with a big beard shouted. Let's go. I heard from an old friend that if you don't listen to orders in the military camp, you'll be beaten. If you die, then so be it. No one will take responsibility. Duan Su lowered his head and walked over. When they came to a small square on the side, they found that there were already more than 50 people standing there. The brawny man with a big beard put his hands behind his back and shouted, I'm your captain this time, Zhou Mu. Chapter 131. At this moment, Wang Zhong and Duan Su were standing in the last row. Before coming here, Wang Zhong knew that the number of people in a guide team was about 30 to 40. The number of people here was more than half. It was probably because many of the captains had died, so there was a captain leading more people. All of you listen up. Since you're here, you'll be my soldiers from now on. These are Descartes. Those who stand behind them will listen to their orders from now on. Zhou Mu's voice was loud and clear. He spoke for half an hour, and it was all about some precautions. In the past, even if people with low spiritual roots came here, as the captain, Zhou Mu would train them well and let them pay attention to some problems. But now it was too late, so Zhou Mu could only finish speaking as fast as he could. Wang Zhong and Duan Su were assigned to stand behind a middle-aged man called Qiao Ji. Their team, including Qiao Ji, had a total of 8 people. Unfortunately, only one of the 8 people was a veteran. The other 7 were inexperienced and didn't know anything. Okay, now everyone start training. Remember, today is only one day of training. Tomorrow morning we will leave the city. Zhou Mu shouted. Captain, is it too rushed? We don't know anything. A scholar said worriedly. Zhou Mu explained patiently, which was rare, and shouted. I also want to train you for a few more days, but time waits for no one. I am afraid that tomorrow, the corpse tide will arrive at the city. If we don't attack then, Once the evil creatures enter the city, the people who will die will not be you. After speaking, Zhoumu quickly left. Let's go. Chaoji looked at the people in his team and shouted coldly. For a moment, the originally large team was divided into several groups. Most people followed their departures and left. Everyone, it is fate that we met. In the guide team, although we are also soldiers, there are not so many rules. There is only one thing, and that is to train ourselves well to deal with evil creatures. Chaoji put his hands behind his back and walked to the side of a wooden box. He opened the wooden box, and inside were pieces of talisman paper. Here are the killing talismans, specially used to deal with evil creatures. Everyone has 5. Take them. After Chaoji finished speaking, he opened the wooden box beside him. This is a protective talisman. It can prevent evil beings from getting close to you. This is a strength talisman, which is the most powerful talisman paper. It stores the strength of the masters. Everyone can get one. Remember, it's best not to use it unless it's a last resort. The strength talisman is extremely scarce. In theory, you can only get one a month. As for the rest of the talisman papers, if you use them up, you can report to the higher-ups and get more. However, there have been too many evil beings recently, so we don't have enough talisman papers. After Chaoji finished speaking, he watched as everyone received their talisman papers. Wang Zhong also walked over and picked up the talisman papers. He frowned slightly. This piece of paper was of the worst quality. The power on it was very weak. It was not even as good as Gao Jinren's own talisman paper. Sure enough, it was a suicide squad. Clearly it was a suicide squad. Wang Zhong sighed. However, he didn't say anything. After all, he had a lot of talisman papers with him. These talisman papers had been refined by him in the past. Then, he obediently received his own talisman paper. Next, Chaoji began to teach everyone how to use the talisman paper. In theory, the talisman paper had the best effect when used once. However, Chaoji also said that in order to save the talisman paper, in case of accidents, he taught everyone that the talisman paper could be used against evil beings. Although the effect was weakened, the talisman paper could be used many times. This could also be regarded as some small combat skills. After all, although the power of a single talisman paper was strong, the number was too small. Once it was used up, how could these people survive without any strength? After teaching the talisman paper, it was already afternoon. Chaoji let everyone train by themselves. After a while, Chaoji brought a pile of iron swords. Most of these iron swords looked rusty. Many of the edges even had some gaps. However, the difference was that these swords had runes drawn on them. Obviously, they were already elementary artifacts that could deal with evil beings. Although these iron swords are not of high quality, they have all been consecrated by several masters of the City Lord Mansion. There are several kinds of talismans printed on them. With a gentle wave, they can emit strength. You can choose what you like. After Chaoji finished speaking, a group of people couldn't wait to step forward. Although Wang Zhong himself had a bronze sword, no one would complain about having too many of these things. Wang Zhong chose an iron sword for himself. Both swords were carried on his back. Combined with his short height, it looked a little awkward. Okay, now I will teach you actual combat. Remember, what I am teaching now is very likely to let you survive, so watch carefully. After Chaoji finished speaking, he pulled out his long sword. This move is the exorcism sword art taught by Master Wu. It is very simple. There are a total of 3 moves. When you see evil beings, cut them from the top of their head. The second move, horizontal chop. The third move, retreat. Chaoji first cut, then slashed horizontally, and finally retreated. Do you know why I retreated? Because if the first 2 moves can't kill the evil beings, you must retreat to prevent the evil beings from attacking. You won't even know how you died. After that, Chaoji practiced a few more moves. These moves were actually not orthodox martial arts, but some opportunistic combat experience. Although it looked very ordinary, it was most suitable for newcomers. This afternoon, everyone worked hard to practice. In the evening, Chaoji brought his team members to the place where they had dinner. Tonight's food was good. Everyone had a drumstick and a few vegetable dishes. During the meal, everyone chatted. After an afternoon of practice, the people in the team became more familiar with each other. Sergeant Wang Zhong almost finished eating and asked, "You seem to have been here for a long time?" "Yes, I have been here since I was in my 30s. Chao Ji was still good to his team members. He nodded and said, "You are the youngest in the team. Eat more and grow up. Only then can you deal with evil beings." "Sergeant, you didn't come here because of your low spiritual root talent, right?" Someone asked. "My family was eaten by evil beings. In order to take revenge, I volunteered to join. After so many years, I am not used to the outside life." Chao Ji took a sip of wine and sighed. Hearing this, everyone was finally enlightened. At this time, several male team members winked and looked not far away, because at a table not far away, there was a beautiful woman in red leading a group of team members. "This woman is so beautiful, isn't she? TSK, she seems to be a sergeant too. If only I could marry her." Chao Ji sneered. "Humph. Shut up. This is Miss Lu Hua. She is stronger than me. Be careful not to get beaten up." "So powerful." Duan Su stretched his neck and said in surprise, "This Lu Hua just joined the guide team a few years ago. At first, she was just an ordinary person. Later she survived several crises. She has already cultivated qi, so she was promoted to sergeant." Chao Ji explained. Suddenly, he thought of something and continued. "Oh right, she is 28 years old. Her spiritual root talent is level 3. She can live for at most 2 years. Chapter 132. Hearing this, most people felt sorry for her. She was such a cute and fierce girl, but she had such a short lifespan. Wang Zhong didn't care much about other people's affairs. Instead, he was thinking about his own future. At present, he still couldn't reveal too much of his strength. However, he could slowly reveal his strength after a few battles, and say that he trained in battle. Only in this way could he become a corporal, and then a captain. Once he had a certain amount of power, he could gradually think about how to deal with those people in the city lord's mansion. Wang Zhong drank the tea on the table in one gulp. Then, under Chao Ji's lead, they went to the military camp by the city gate. At night, the military camp was brightly lit. Wang Zhong and his team members were all squeezed in a tent. Although it was cold outside, there was a charcoal fire in the tent, so the temperature wasn't high. "Our team is all here because our spirit roots are too low. Do you know what they call us? Death Squad." A brawny man with a dark complexion said angrily, "I don't understand. They want us to do such a dangerous mission. Those masters are so powerful. Why don't they do it themselves? Moreover, even if they want us to do it, they won't even give us a few life-saving items." This man was called Hazy. When the team members introduced themselves, Wang Zhong knew that he was from the countryside. He used to farm at home, so his skin was tanned. "Hazy, lower your voice." Fortunately, the corporal and captain went out to discuss tomorrow's mission. Otherwise, if they heard what you said, they would punish you. Duan Su reminded him. "Yes, stop talking. Who doesn't know that those masters only know how to enjoy life? If it weren't for the fact that we don't have strength, we would be stronger than them." Another person said unhappily, "Let's sleep. We're going to deal with evil creatures tomorrow." Nobody knew who said that, but everyone fell asleep. Wang Zhong and Duan Su huddled together and looked up at the tent. After a while they also fell asleep. The next day before dawn, Chao Ji rushed in and shouted, "Everyone get up. Hurry. The captain has ordered that our third team is about to set off." The group of people hurriedly got up. Wang Zhong asked while putting on his clothes, "Corporal Chao, what's our mission later?" "There is a small-scale corpse tide that is about to reach the city. We will open the city gate and take a detour to the right side of the corpse tide. We will lure them to the forest on the right side." The group of people immediately dressed up and set off after Chao Ji. Captain Zhou Mu had been waiting for a long time. When he saw Chao Ji coming over, he nodded and shouted, "Captain Chao, now you bring people out of the city and take a detour to the right side of the corpse tide. You must lead this group of corpses away." After saying that, he shouted to another corporal who looked to be in his 50s, Corporal Han. You support Corporal Chow. Once something happens to them, you take people to cover for them. Yes, the two Descartes shouted in unison, and then waved at their own troops. Come, open the city gates. The city gates slowly opened, and the two teams, with a total of more than 10 people, rushed out. This was the first time these people had left the city, so it was impossible for them not to be nervous. Wang Zhong's heart was not so nervous, but was looking forward to it. After opening the gate, they looked around. There was a yellow sand hill, and there was a large forest in the distance. However, the air was filled with the smell of corpses. With his experience, Wang Zhong knew that the corpse tide was not far away. Don't just stand there. If there is anyone who disobeys the military order, runs away, or disturbs the morale of the troops, kill without mercy. Chao Ji's calm attitude suddenly became extremely violent. He pulled out his sword and said, "Follow me." The group of people followed closely behind, walking along the wide official road. The more they went forward, the stronger the wind mixed with the yellow sand. It was almost impossible to open one's eyes. From time to time, everyone could see a few corpses wearing bamboo armor on the side of the road. There was no doubt that these people wearing bamboo armor were the people who led the way. Because there were too many people who died, it was too late to collect the corpses. Chao Ji quickened his pace. Wang Zhong walked while looking around vigilantly. In fact, he had already cultivated qi, so he could slightly sense the evil creatures around him. Although there were many evil creatures around, they were similar to the evil creatures in the city. Their strength was too weak. Just by relying on one's own yang qi, these evil creatures could not get close. However, the problem was that there were too many evil creatures. According to Wang Zhong's experience, there must be a strong evil creature hiding among them. Zeng. Wang Zhong pulled out his bronze sword. Along the way, the evil creatures were killed by his bronze sword before they could even touch him. It was just that the others could not see these evil creatures. During this time, Wang Zhong also discovered that those with level 2 and level 3 spiritual roots could not see any evil creatures. Therefore, he speculated that those with level 1 spiritual roots could see evil creatures. Previously, the two sons of Zhang Tufu who died could also see evil creatures. Stop. Finally, Chao Ji came to a small hillside. Everyone walked up and looked around. Under the hillside, a black mass of corpses was staggering towards them. These are the small corpse tied in front of us. Later we will go to the right. You guys follow me to eliminate the evil creatures on the right. Remember, once you see the corpse tide approaching us, leave immediately. Chao Ji gave the order, turned his head and shouted, "Charge!" This time, he didn't charge at the front. It wasn't because Chao Ji was afraid, but because he knew in his heart that this batch of people were all newcomers. If he wasn't watching from the back, this batch of newcomers would probably be scared out of their wits and directly run away. In fact, Chao Ji had considered it thoroughly. Sure enough, after running for a while, some sharp-eyed people saw two skeletons with pieces of meat hanging on their bodies walking towards them. I didn't expect the evil creatures outside the city to walk in broad daylight. Aren't they afraid of the sun? Wang Zhong looked up at the sky. He noticed that unlike the city, the sky outside the city was covered with dark clouds that completely blocked out the sunlight. Therefore, these evil beings were not afraid at all. Evil creatures, corpses, so many corpses. Duan Su held his sword with both hands and could no longer walk. Chao Ji shouted, "Go forward. You all have talismans on you. Don't worry." But Captain, I'm afraid. Duan Su cried, "I'm a scholar. If it wasn't for the fact that my spiritual roots were not good enough, I would have taken the imperial examinations and become a scholar. No matter what, I still want to be a teacher. I can't deal with evil creatures, I can't deal with them." Before he finished speaking, Chao Ji's sword slashed horizontally. In the blink of an eye, Duan Su's head flew out. Everyone was stunned. Chao Ji looked at everyone with a cold expression and shouted, "Whoever dares to be long-winded, kill." No one dared to speak. Wang Zhong tilted his head and continued walking. With Wang Zhong taking the lead, the others did not dare to say anything more. Everyone kept their heads down and hurried on. Chao Ji was behind them, and he was a little surprised by Wang Zhong's reaction. In the beginning, when he took over this small team, he was not optimistic about Wang Zhong. First, this Zhao Xiaodong was too young. He was only 13 years old, and his hair was not yet fully grown. Second, Zhao Xiaodong was born in a rich family. In his opinion, the children of rich families had a common problem. That is, they could not bear hardships and were timid. What he did not expect was that this Zhao Xiaodong was doing well so far. He rushed to the front alone. Wherever his bronze sword swung, there would always be a flash of black fog. It must be known that this black fog was caused when the evil creatures were killed and their souls scattered. After a while, Wang Zhong had already arrived at the side of the corpse tide. Standing here, the stench made people unable to open their eyes. There were too many evil creatures in front of him. Wang Zhong had not seen many of them before. There were evil creatures with white fluttering clothes flying in the sky. There were souls with sharp claws, stretching out their sharp teeth and roaring. Even more, there were countless corpses. These corpses were said to have been buried in the mass grave for hundreds of years. Most of them had rotted into skeletons, but there were many that had died not long ago. Their whole body was full of rotten flesh, and even maggots were crawling in these rotten flesh. Chapter 133. The countless evil beings in front of him were indeed disgusting, but Wang Zhong did not have any reaction. A corpse pounced at him. Wang Zhong shook the bronze sword in his hand and slashed at the head of the corpse. Wang Zhong also drew talismans on the bronze sword, but it was not an ordinary talisman. It was the best golden talisman. Willie was much higher than the iron sword. The head of the corpse flew out, but what surprised Wang Zhong was that the corpse did not fall down. Instead, it stretched out its hands and continued to charge at him. Extermination talisman! Wang Zhong shouted. The extermination talisman was placed in front of him. Soon after, a black mist dispersed from the corpse, causing the corpse to fall down. While he was calmly dealing with these evil beings, the others were not able to do the same. Although a few of them managed to cut off the torso of the corpses were still charging at them. Everyone pay attention. These corpses may look like corpses on the surface, but they are actually controlled by the souls of the evil beings. If you want to get rid of them, there are only two ways. First, cut off their limbs. Second, use the extermination talisman to stop them. After Chaoji finished speaking, the long sword in his hand swiftly cut a corpse in half. However, at this moment, a corpse pounced on one of the team members and spat out a mouthful of black mist onto his face. Sizzle! In an instant, the team member's eyes widened, and his face became distorted. Be careful of the corpse poison. Chaoji saw the team member's miserable state and roared. With a kick, he sent the team member flying. Everyone quickly retreated. They saw that the team member's face began to bleed. In a blink of an eye, his eyeballs exploded. Then, like a corpse, he staggered towards the team. If you are touched by the corpse poison, not only will you die, but you will also become an evil being's puppet. Do you all remember this? Chaoji shouted. Gulp. The field was filled with the sound of saliva being swallowed. Wang Zhong stood beside Chaoji. Corporal, the corpse tide is already rushing towards us. Should we retreat? Chaoji looked at Wang Zhong with satisfaction. He secretly thought that this kid could still remain so calm at this time. This kind of temperament was really rare. Unfortunately, he knew from the information that Zhao Xiaodong had a short lifespan. He only had a lifespan of 20. No matter how strong his temperament was, it would be difficult for him to achieve anything in the future. Yeah, Zhao Xiaodong is right. Everyone, follow my rhythm and retreat slowly. As Chaoji spoke, a sword chi slashed out, and countless corpses fell to the ground. Seeing how powerful their sergeant was, the remaining group of people in the team were greatly boosted in confidence. One by one, the corpses walked towards them. These people fought while retreating. The corpse tide gradually moved to the right. Finally, the corpse tide was led away. Although there was no need for them to risk their lives, Wang Zhong wanted to test his strength. He was very close to the corpse tide, which was only a few kilometers away. He killed no less than 30 corpses. In fact, this scene was already seen by the others. Each of them looked at Wang Zhong in a new light. They didn't expect this Zhao Xiaodong to be so fierce. Xiaodong, don't get too close to the corpse tide. Our mission is only to lead the corpse tide away from here. Xiaoji couldn't bear to see such a strong person like Zhao Xiaodong die too early. He quickly reminded him. Wang Zhong nodded and said, "It doesn't matter. I won't live past 20 anyway. It's better to practice more. If I can make a breakthrough, maybe I can increase my lifespan." So Zhao Xiaodong had this idea. No wonder he was so desperate. The surrounding people thought. Everyone had a short lifespan. For a moment, they were infected by Wang Zhong's fighting spirit. The fear in everyone's heart dissipated. Wang Zhong didn't pay attention to Qiao Ji's reminder. In fact, Qiao Ji himself was too weak. He didn't see Wang Zhong's skill at all. He only thought that the bronze sword in Wang Zhong's hand was a good thing. So cutting the corpses was like cutting tofu. The corpse tide had already left the city gate, and Wang Zhong and the others had already entered the small forest. As long as the corpse tide entered the small forest, they would be blocked by the trees. At that time, the formation would gradually disperse. At that time, it would be easier to deal with them. "Qiao Ji, your mission has been completed. Let's go back and report." Captain Han, who was supporting them, brought the team and said. "And let's go." Qiao Ji waved his hand. Wang Zhong frowned and said, "The corpse tide has been dispersed. We should stay here and deal with the corpse tide before leaving." Qiao Ji was shocked by Wang Zhong's idea. He shook his head and said, "Our mission is only to lead them away. Since the mission is completed, there is no need to stay here. Moreover, there are more than 1,000 corpses here. I'm afraid we can't fight for a day and a night. If a day and a night is not enough, we can take 2 days. After dealing with the corpse tide, at least we won't have any worries. We can focus on dealing with the large corpse tide. Captain Han, what do you think?" After completing the mission, Captain Han cupped his hands and asked. If it was someone else who said this impolitely, these captains would have already scolded them. However, Wang Zhong, who had just displayed his powerful strength, was different. With a single glance, these people were able to tell that Wang Zhong's strength was enough to match up to the Descartes. Therefore, Captain Han didn't blame him. Instead, he explained, "Generally speaking, we should leave after completing the mission. After all, there may be other missions. If we return late, I'm afraid the captain will blame us. All right, let's go." Wang Zhong looked at the corpse tide. "Then I will go through the middle of the corpse tide." What? Everyone was stunned. However, in the next moment, they saw Wang Zhong holding a bronze sword and quickly killing the corpse tide. Chi chi chi. At this moment, Wang Zhong seemed to have entered an uninhabited land. Countless broken limbs flew out. This 13-year-old kid is too fierce. Captain Han was shocked. His eyes flashed with envy. "Old Qiao, you have a fierce warrior in your team." For these captains, if there was an extra strong warrior in the team, it would undoubtedly increase their survival rate. Qiao Ji sighed. Although he is strong, he is still young. Look at him killing the corpse tide alone. He is really not afraid of death. It is good that he is not afraid of death. The people I brought with me last time were all cowards. I killed 5 of them. All right, let's go too. We'll go to the front to help little Dong. Qiao Ji nodded and a group of people ran out. Wang Zhong didn't kill the zombies to show off. Now, he knew that his biggest enemy in the future wasn't these evil creatures, but the master in the city lord's residence. Therefore, if he wanted to grow faster, he had to kill. Chi chi chi. One by one, the heads of the corpses were thrown away. At this moment, the ghosts in the sky also noticed Wang Zhong and rushed over. "Protective talisman," Wang Zhong shouted, and a protective talisman was placed in front of him. In a moment, all the ghosts near him were covered by a golden light and disappeared. Die! Wang Zhong swept the surrounding corpses. With him as the center, all the corpses within 2 meters were cut in half. While this guy is probably as strong as a captain, Qiao Ji was surprised. But this kid mostly relies on his own talisman. I heard that his name is Zhao Xiaodong. He learned from the missing Gao Jinren for a few days. I am afraid that he learned from Gao Jinren, Sergeant Han said. But we have met a few of Gao Jinren's disciples before, and they did not seem to be so powerful. Who knows, maybe this is talent. I can tell that this kid is smart. Maybe he learns fast. The two sergeants talked to each other and arrived at the end of the corpse tide. Zhao Xiaodong, come out quickly. We are leaving. Chao Ji shouted. Yes. Wang Zhong increased his speed and charged over. Not long after, he had carved out a path of blood for himself. Too weak. Wang Zhong sighed in his heart. This zombie horde was indeed the lowest level of evil beings. It was just that there were a lot of them. After meeting up with the two sergeants, the other members of the two teams looked at Wang Zhong differently. Wang Zhong automatically ignored these gazes. He walked over and asked, Sergeants, how are the ranks of these evil creatures distributed? Why are there strong and weak evil creatures in this group? Well, let's walk and talk. Chao Ji wanted to say, but suddenly, a fiery red firework came from the distant city wall. Pa! The firework emitted a beautiful flame in the sky, but such a beautiful scene made Chao Ji and Sergeant Han's face change. They shouted together. Not good. The corpse tide behind us has already reached the city wall. Chapter 134. This firework is the highest level of danger on the city wall. When this firework is released, it means that the corpse tide has reached the city wall. Chao Ji shouted to the people behind him as he ran. Everyone listen to my order, speed up. Han Wuchang roared. Finally they arrived at the city wall. Looking around, the corpse tide that was bigger than a football field was rushing towards Snow City. At this moment, a large number of soldiers were standing on the city wall. Each of them held a yellow talisman and threw it at the ghosts. It's over. These ordinary soldiers are no match for the corpse tide. Chao Ji's face was bitter. Just as they were talking, they saw two white figures appear on the city wall. It's the two masters. Someone in the crowd exclaimed. Wang Zhong squinted his eyes. So this is Master White and Master Wu. When the two masters appeared, the group of evil creatures that were approaching suddenly retreated. Because the distance was too far, Wang Zhong could not see the specific movements of the two masters. However, he could see that the speed of the corpse tide was much slower. At this moment, the city gate suddenly opened, and a large group of people in white rushed out. It's the disciples of the two masters. They finally made a move. Han Wuchang was so excited that he directly knelt down. Ha ha ha. With them making a move, the corpse tide can be temporarily solved. The crowd was excited. Wang Zhong also had a new understanding of the two masters' methods. When this group of people came out, they chanted a spell that Wang Zhong could not understand. The sound floated over, and some of the weaker evil creatures were directly scattered. As for the slightly stronger ones, their bodies were scattered, and they began to retreat. Holy Light Shroud. The two masters shouted in unison and jumped out from the city wall. These two are indeed quite capable. They can actually fly in the air. Wang Zhong thought to himself. He didn't know when he would be able to reach their level. Holy Light Shroud. The disciples below shouted in unison. For a moment, with them as the center, a dazzling light emitted. Bang bang bang. Countless low-level evil creatures exploded and died. At the same time, Han Wuchang was surprised. Captain and the others came out too. Why did Captain and the others come out too? Chao Ji was surprised. He saw Zhou Mu leading a large group of people, quickly running towards this side. You've completed the mission. Zhou Mu shouted from afar. Captain, we did not disappoint you. Sergeant Han and Chao Ji cupped their hands together. Very good. Follow me. Zhou Mu shouted as he ran. Although there are two masters overseeing this place, there are too many corpses in the back. The two masters ordered us to go to the back of the corpse tide and lure the corpse tide away. What? Chao Ji and Han Wuzhang's expressions both changed. Chao Ji hurriedly said, This corpse tide is too huge. It's impossible to lead it away. Yeah, we've done this many times before. It's too difficult. Then what should I do? You want me to go back and tell the master that I can't? Zhou Mu's eyes widened. Let's go. We have more people this time. And there are 5 disciples of the masters in the team. We will definitely succeed. As Zhou Mu spoke, Wang Zhong also noticed the 5 men in white following him. The 5 men all held long swords in their hands and wore hairpins in their hair. They ran with an arrogant face. Seeing the surrounding people looking at them, one of the older men in white snorted and shouted, "Speed up. If we miss the master's opportunity, can you bear the responsibility?" Yes. Brother Ouyang is right. Did you hear that? Speed up. Whoever is slow will be beheaded. Zhoumu roared. The group of members behind secretly complained. They had just fought for so long, and their bodies were already exhausted. Now they had to speed up. It was simply too difficult for them. But there was no other way. The military order was like a mountain. They could only speed up. At this time, a beautiful figure rushed out of the team. Ouyang turned his head and glanced, and said in surprise, "Isn't this Miss Liu?" The person who came was Lu Hua, whom Wang Zhong had met once. As usual, Lu Hua was expressionless. She did not pay attention to Ouyang and walked with her team. Seeing that Lu Hua ignored him, Ouyang snorted and did not say anything. The zombies covered a large area. A large group of people walked quickly along the zombies. Wang Zhong walked to Chao Ji's side and asked while running, "Captain Chao, you haven't told me what the level of these evil creatures is." Thinking that Zhao Xiaodong's performance was not bad, Chao Ji explained, "Among these zombies, the lowest level of evil creatures are these corpses. Do you see the ghosts floating in the sky? They are called ghosts. Above that is the Yin soul. The Yin soul's body is stronger than the ghosts. After that are the skeletons. The skeletons have a strong defense. Their whole body has corpse poison. They are very difficult to deal with. Among these zombies, the strongest are the skeletons. Captain Chao, before you said that the ones controlling the zombies are usually the ghost generals." Wang Zhong was puzzled. Are there no ghost generals here? Ghost generals appear and disappear unpredictably. Although these zombies are controlled by the ghost generals, they must be hiding. It is not easy to deal with them. We can only lure the zombies away. Chao Ji's tone was helpless. Wang Zhong secretly nodded and memorized the contents. The weakest evil creatures are called evil creatures. Then there are ghosts, Yin souls, and skeletons. Finally, there are the ghost generals who can control other evil creatures. Everyone listen to me. In front of us is the end of the zombie wave. Follow me and attack the skeletons at the end of the zombie wave. Only when the skeletons are dealt with will the evil creatures at the end of the zombie wave disperse. Do you understand? Ouyang shouted. Zhoumu quickly responded. Finally, they arrived at the end of the zombie wave. Zhoumu shouted, 13574 teams, attack from the right flank. 2468 teams, attack from the left flank. Team 90, follow me to fight head-on. Be sure to attract the zombies. If you find any skeletons, immediately notify. Among the zombies, the skeletons have a strong defense. Everyone's weapons could not deal with them. Therefore, if they found any skeletons, they could only call Ouyang and the other master's disciples. The team dispersed. Wang Zhong was in the fourth team, so he followed everyone to the left flank. A group of evil creatures seemed to have smelled something and crazily counterattacked. Two of the team members did not notice and were directly pushed to the ground by a group of evil creatures. There were too many evil creatures. Even if it was just a few sergeants facing so many evil creatures, they were surrounded by danger. What are you doing? Did you not see any skeletons? Ouyang stood at the back and coldly shouted, Brother Ouyang, this group of people is just a suicide squad. They are not worthy. I am willing to go in and find skeletons. A thin man said, Well, Xiaosong, go in and be careful. Ouyang thought for a moment and agreed with his junior brother's proposal. Then he coldly said, A suicide squad is worthy of being called a suicide squad. A group of useless things. When Ouyang spoke, he did not hide anything. Hearing this, Wang Zhong and the others frowned. However, in front of the enemy, they did not have time to talk nonsense. In an instant, Xiaosong came to the side of Wang Zhong's group. Looking at the countless evil creatures in front of him, he shouted, Too slow. You three, kill them for me. I need to find the skeletons as soon as possible. Xiaosong was referring to squad leader Han and a few of his team members. Hearing this, their expressions changed drastically. Brother, there are so many evil creatures in front. Let's go. Before Sergeant Han could finish, Xiao Song coldly snorted. He grabbed Sergeant Han and threw him into the pile of evil creatures. Chapter 135. Everyone saw this scene, and then they saw Han Wuzhong fall more than 10 meters away. As soon as he fell, countless evil creatures around him rushed over. "Ah, bastard!" Han Wuzhong roared and swung his long sword. Chi 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 chi. In the past, no matter how powerful Han Wuzhong was, he could not burst out with such strength, but at the critical moment of life and death, he almost used all of his potential. Roar! Suddenly, a roar came from behind Han Wuzhong, and a black corpse with a metallic luster appeared. This corpse was obviously different from the corpses beside it. The fingernails on its hands were blood red, and it looked at Han Wuzhong's back and scratched. Chi chi! In an instant, Han Wuzhong's back was scratched open and blood dripped. "It's a bone corpse." Qiao Ji and Han Wuzhong had a good relationship, and when he saw a bone corpse behind his friend, he was shocked. They could deal with some ordinary evil creatures, but they still could not deal with bone corpses, which was why they asked the master's disciples to help. They just did not expect that these disciples would use them as bait in order to find the bone corpse earlier. "Not bad, I found the bone corpse." Xiao Song did not take the lives of others seriously at all, and after taking out a large talisman, he rushed in with his sword. Chi chi chi. One evil creature after another was destroyed by him, but Han Wuzhong could not hold on anymore. He took out his most precious talisman and threw it at the bone corpse behind him. Chi chi. The bone corpse was hit, but the effect was not great, and its sharp claws pierced through. "Ah!" Han Wuzhong screamed as his chest was pierced. Then a beating heart was taken out. "Good chance." Xiao Song rushed in with the talisman and threw it at the bone corpse. Explosive talisman explode. Boom! With the bone corpse as the center, all evil creatures within 2 meters were blown to death. This scene made the guide team's eyelids twitch. Although Sergeant Han was dead, his body was still there. How could it be blown to smithereens just like that? Looking at the master's disciples' performance, they did not seem to treat them as humans at all. This was outrageous, this was too much. Everyone was angry, but this Xiao Song was eager to take credit, and immediately returned after a successful attack, and said to Ouyang, "Senior brother, fortunately I did not disappoint you." Very good. Regarding Xiao Song's method, Ouyang did not reprimand him. Instead, he praised him and shouted to the guide team, "Did you see that? This is the fastest and most efficient way to deal with the evil creature. Everyone, go in immediately and draw out the bone corpse." After Ouyang finished speaking, his 4 junior brothers all stood out and went to the guides. "Get in." These people domineeringly drove people in. The guide team was made up of ordinary people, so how could they defeat the disciples of these grandmasters? Therefore they were all chased away. "You get in." A man who looked like he was only 18 years old came up to Wang Zhong and said coldly. Wang Zhong frowned. Although he wasn't afraid of entering a zombie horde, these people's actions were simply not treating them as humans. "You guys are so strong. Why don't you go in and draw out the bone corpses?" Wang Zhong questioned. "You still dare to talk back? We are the disciples of the grandmasters. How can you guys be compared to us? Hurry up and go in. Anyway, you guys won't live for long. Before you die, you can contribute more." As soon as this person finished speaking, 2 people who entered the zombie horde not far away screamed. Their stomachs were cut open by a group of corpses. However, at the same time, a bone corpse appeared again. It dug out the 2 people's hearts and chewed. I didn't expect bone corpses to like eating hearts. No wonder we were asked to draw them out. "Hey, what are you muttering about? Hurry up and go in." The young disciple pulled out his sword to scare Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong's eyes flashed. "Okay." He rushed into the zombie horde and pretended to barely deal with it. Sure enough, a bone corpse appeared after a while. This bone corpse had some spiritual intelligence and knew to hide and attack. Wang Zhong snorted and threw the talisman behind him and shouted, "Bone corpse appeared." The young disciple was overjoyed. "Don't move, I'll throw the talisman now." In fact, these so-called disciples couldn't deal with the bone corpse. They only relied on the explosive talisman in their hands. However, if this was the case, wouldn't they also kill their own people? Wang Zhong knew this point, but deliberately didn't point it out. Suddenly, he split open the evil thing in front of the young disciple and rushed over. Roar! The bone corpse rushed towards Wang Zhong. The young disciple was shocked. What are you doing? Don't come over! Don't come over! He held the explosive talisman in his hand, but seeing that Wang Zhong and the bone corpse were very close to him, if he threw the talisman at this distance, he would be injured. You are the disciple of a great master. I'll leave the bone corpse behind me to you. Wang Zhong rushed to the side of the disciple, and his figure flashed. The bone corpse arrived at the same time, and in an instant, it grabbed at the young disciple. Ah! The disciple was shocked and angry at the same time. He quickly blocked. But how could he be the bone corpse's opponent? He was sent flying in an instant. Senior brother Ouyang, save me. Ouyang turned his head, but it was too late. The bone corpse jumped up and stepped on the disciple's back. Its sharp claws pierced the disciple's heart. Luo Tian. Ouyang's eyes narrowed. As the senior brother of these people, his master had told him to protect his junior brother. But he didn't expect that one of his junior brother would die in a blink of an eye. He quickly walked over and threw the explosive talisman without hesitation. Boom! The bone corpse and Luo Tian's body exploded into ashes. Ouyang then looked at Wang Zhong and shouted, "What happened just now? Why didn't you die, but my junior brother died?" "My skills are not good enough," Wang Zhong said calmly and fought side by side with Qiao Ji. Ouyang looked at Wang Zhong's back and narrowed his eyes. This 13 or 14-year-old kid was actually so arrogant. Zhao Xiaodong. These master's disciples are arrogant and overbearing. You should keep a low profile. Qiao Ji reminded. I know, Sergeant. It's a pity that those team members became bait for these people. Sigh, these disciples compete with each other. In order to be recognized by the master, they would do anything to complete the mission. Just as they were talking, they heard a shout. How can you master's disciples be like this? You don't even care about the lives of others in order to gain merits. This voice came from Sergeant Lu Hua's side. Qiao Ji and Wang Zhong glanced over and saw that Lu Hua's team members were all dead. She was the only one left who was bitterly resisting the tide of corpses. Not far away, Xiao Song and another disciple called Liang sneered at Lu Hua. They felt like they were sitting and watching a show. Why did these people bully Lu Hua? Wang Zhong asked. Qiao Ji sighed. Lu Hua is beautiful. A few days ago, Ouyang came over with two master's disciples. Ouyang took a liking to Lu Hua and wanted to take advantage of her. However, Lu Hua rejected him. As the senior brother, Ouyang naturally felt embarrassed. Hence, he would always send Lu Hua on dangerous missions. So narrow-minded, Wang Zhong said. Xiaodong, although Sergeant Lu is a woman, she is a good person. She has helped us many times. I still need to guard this place. Can you go and help her get out of this situation? Wang Zhong thought for a moment. Sure. As soon as he finished speaking, he slashed with his blade and killed all the evil creatures in front of him. There are skeletons here. Lu Hua shouted. Is that so? Then Sergeant Lu will have to trouble you. I hope you can continue to work hard and get rid of the skeletons. Xiao Song sneered. Lu Hua frowned. These people actually didn't come over to help. Did they want to watch her die? Ouyang also glanced over and sneered. I wanted to pamper you, but you didn't want to. Since you don't know what's good for you, there's no need to keep you. Chapter 136. Chi Chi Chi. Facing the sudden attack of the bone corpse, Lu Hua also burst out with her powerful potential. She slashed out with her long saber and rushed towards the corpse tide. In an instant, her delicate body was covered with filthy blood, rotten flesh, and other filthy things. But fortunately, she dodged the bone corpse's fatal claw at the critical moment. As the disciple of a master, you actually watched me die without saving me. This time when I go back, I will definitely report it. Lu Hua shouted. Humph. Do we need a bastard like you to tell us what to do? Ouyang was angered by Lu Hua. Senior brother, this girl is too insensible. Junior brother will teach her a lesson later. Xiao Song said flatteringly. Ouyang nodded. At this time, he glanced at Wang Zhong from the corner of his eye and was stunned. Because he saw Wang Zhong, this 13 or 14-year-old child, was actually rampaging through the corpse tide. He was even crazier than those sergeants. Where did this guy come from? Why is he so strong? Ouyang said. Senior brother, I'm also curious. Originally, I saw that he was so small and thought that he would be the first to die. I didn't expect him to be so strong. Do you think there's something strange about the sword in his hand? After Xiaosong finished speaking, a slightly plump disciple in his 20s came over and said, Senior brother, this kid is called Zhao Xiaodong. He is the son of a shopkeeper, and his family is very rich. I think that this sword should be bought by his father for a lot of money for him to defend himself. It's a magic tool. Magic tools were the most important weapons for cultivators. If two cultivators of similar strength were to fight, the one with a higher grade weapon would definitely be able to erupt with stronger strength. So when this person said that, Ouyang's eyes lit up. He didn't come from a high family, so he didn't have any magic tools. At this moment, when he saw the sword in Wang Zhong's hand, it was absolutely suitable for him. Xiaosong was good at observation and knew what Ouyang was thinking. He cupped his hands and said, This kind of magic tool is suitable for senior brother. It seems that this kid won't live for long. I will go get it for senior brother. At this moment, Lu Hu was fighting in the corpse tide. The bone corpse behind her was like a maggot chasing after her. What she didn't expect was that at this moment, another bone corpse suddenly rushed out from the right. At this moment, she couldn't dodge in time, and could only raise her sword to meet it head-on. Bang! This claw had directly broken her most beloved treasured sword. Because the force was too great, her hand did not hold the sword firmly, and the sword hilt was slapped off. In this kind of corpse tide, not having a weapon was no different from dying. Moreover, Lu Hu had already used up all the talismans. My life is over. Lu Hu sighed in her heart as she watched a bone corpse's sharp claws swipe at her head. Wang Zhong, who had been paying attention to Lu Hu, suddenly frowned. Why did I encounter such a melodramatic situation again? At this moment he did not have time to think too much. He jumped up, and the strength in his body surged wildly, transmitting it into the body of the bronze sword. Slash! With a loud shout, the bone corpse was split into two. The entire battlefield was shocked. One had to know that even the disciples of those grandmasters were unable to deal with these skeletons. They could only rely on explosive talismans to kill them. But now, it had been split open from the head by a bronze sword. Magic tool. It was definitely a magic tool. Xiaosong, who was rushing over, was stunned. Of course, he wanted to have such a treasure. However, he also knew that he could do so well because of Senior Ouyang's support. Therefore, he must obtain such a magic tool and give it to Senior Ouyang. On Wang Zhong's side, after splitting open the bone corpse, Lu Hu was still in a daze. Wang Zhong pulled out the iron sword he had chosen before and nodded. Corporal Chow asked me to come over and help you. Don't be stunned, catch. The iron sword was thrown out, and Lu Hu subconsciously caught it. This sword was slightly heavier than her previous sword. It did not feel good to the touch, but there were golden runes on the sword body, which seemed a little different. Chi. When the sword was swung out, the strength was actually more domineering than her previous sword. Good sword. Almost instantly, Lu Hu knew the preciousness of this sword. She could not help but look at the 13-years-old brat, and could not help but ask, This is Corporal Chow's? It's mine. Anyway, I have two. Wang Zhong shrugged and swung the sword horizontally. The corpses behind him were all cut in half at the waist, and the spirits attached to the corpses screamed and dissipated. Yes, I'll return it to you. Lu Hu nodded and said. Unexpectedly, Wang Zhong suddenly pulled Lu Hu and shouted, Quickly retreat. Lu Hu. Out of trust, Lu Hu immediately left with Wang Zhong. As soon as she stepped out, there was a boom behind her. An explosive talisman had exploded. For a moment, Lu Hu's expression turned ugly. If it were not for Zhao Xiaodong's help just now, she would have been seriously injured even if she did not die from the explosion. Who was it that threw the explosive talismans when she was not paying attention? She did not need to guess. Based on the direction Wang Zhong was looking at, she had already found the culprit. It was that bootlicker Song Xiaosong. Those people usually called him Little Song. After killing an evil creature, Lu Hua and Wang Zhong finally broke out of the encirclement. Can't you see that I'm still there? You threw the explosive talismans at me without warning me. Once the battle is delayed, can you afford to delay it? Song Xiaosong's expression was indifferent. These people were the lowest existences in the guide team. He did not care at all. Then he looked at Wang Zhong. Give me that sword. He was referring to the sword in Wang Zhong's hand. That's mine. Why should I give it to you? Wang Zhong said. Haha, senior brother Ouyang said that this sword can't be used to its full potential in your hands. Give it to me now, senior brother, and I will quickly deal with the skeletons here. It's for your own good to finish the mission as soon as possible. Don't be ungrateful. Hearing that, Lu Hua's chest heaved up and down. She was about to explode from anger. Because of these people, her team members had suffered heavy casualties, and she had almost died in there. Now they had taken a fancy to her weapon and wanted to snatch it. Were these so-called disciples of masters all such trash? Unfortunately, no matter how angry she was, she understood the gap between them and these people. So for a moment, she was quite anxious for Zhao Xiaodong. She secretly thought that if Zhao Xiaodong could not keep his sword, she would return the iron sword in her hand to him. Zhao Xiaodong. Lu Hua looked at Wang Zhong, thinking that Wang Zhong did not dare to say anything. Unexpectedly, Wang Zhong ignored Song Xiaosong and said, This sword is mine. If you want it, you can have it over my dead body. You overestimate yourself. Just you wait. Song Xiaosong thought viciously. Then he shouted at Wang Zhong. If you don't want to give it to me, then forget it. Go in again and lure the skeletons out. Wang Zhong glanced at Song Xiaosong. At this time, Lu Hua pulled him and shook her head slightly. Don't fight with them, lest they find an excuse to deal with you. Let's go, I'll go in with you. Song Xiaosong followed and shouted. Go forward 20 meters. If you don't find the skeletons, don't come back. Chapter 137. Hearing Song Xiaosong's voice behind him, Wang Zhong turned cold. Lu Hua said helplessly, These disciples of the masters rely on the master's protection and are used to being lawless. We should try not to clash with them. If those masters find out, we'll be the ones to suffer. Are we just going to let them bully us and let them enjoy the fruits of our labor? Wang Zhong said. I don't want to do this, but what else can we do? Lu Hua said. Wang Zhong thought for a moment and suddenly laughed. He split the corpses beside him and said, These people will only harm others if they live. If we do this, hearing Wang Zhong's plan, Lu Hua's expression changed. No, it's too dangerous. How can we? However, before she could finish speaking, she saw Wang Zhong pouncing forward. Boundless heaven and earth, borrow the power of the universe. Wang Zhong silently chanted an incantation, and a burst of energy shot out from his hand. Then he hit the protective talisman on his body. The next moment, he pretended that he couldn't stop the corpse tide and retreated. I can't, brother Xiaosong, save me. He was so arrogant just now, but now he couldn't do it. Song Xiaosong was happy and said slowly, Weren't you very powerful just now? I can't do it. Come save me quickly, and I'll give you the sword. Otherwise, I'll die here, and you won't be able to get the sword. What he said was true. The corpse tide here was endless. He didn't want to go too deep into the corpse tide. After all, although they had explosive talismans to deal with the skeletons, there weren't many of them. He had already used several of them, and didn't have many left. Thinking of this, Song Xiaosong shouted, Come here, I'll help you. Okay. Wang Zhong's figure slowly approached Song Xiaosong. Song Xiaosong fought with ease. When he was about 3 meters away, Song Xiaosong shouted, Throw your sword to me. I'll give you a few talismans. Thank you. Wang Zhong pretended to be happy, and threw the sword over. Song Xiaosong narrowed his eyes. This big idiot really threw the sword over. Taking the sword, Song Xiaosong's heart skipped a beat. It was indeed a good sword. There was even energy flowing on the sword. He did not expect that this energy belonged to Wang Zhong. After all, in his opinion, This was only a 13-year-old child. His hair was not even fully grown yet. How could he cultivate energy? He thought that this energy belonged to the sword itself. After all, powerful magic weapons had their own energy. With the sword in hand, Song Xiaosong turned around and left. "Brother Xiaosong, where's the talisman you promised me?" Wang Zhong shouted. "Well, I just remembered that I forgot to bring it." Song Xiaosong smiled and cursed in his heart. But at this time, Song Xiaosong suddenly felt that the strength on the sword suddenly became violent. No one noticed that Wang Zhong was already reciting softly behind Song Xiaosong. "Heaven and earth are limitless. Heaven and earth borrow power. Qi strength rises." The talisman on the sword suddenly lit up, and a force rushed into Song Xiaosong's chest. Song Xiaosong was caught off guard. He groaned and retreated. He himself was also surrounded by the corpse tide. Caught off guard, he immediately fell into a dangerous situation. This sword seems to be strange. Song Xiaosong was not an idiot. Just as he was about to shout, Wang Zhong came over. "Brother Xiaosong, you deliberately harmed me." Song Xiaosong was about to curse, but suddenly, he felt a chill coming from behind. This feeling, there was clearly a bone corpse behind him. He suddenly turned around, and the claws instantly pierced his chest. Pooh! Song Xiaosong spat out blood, and his whole person was stunned. And Wang Zhong, at this moment, stood behind him, quietly took away his bronze sword and lightly said, "Remember, in your next life, don't be arrogant." You. At this moment, how could Song Xiaosong not understand that this Xiao Xiaodong deliberately dealt with him? "I hate it." Song Xiaosong wanted to shout, but it was too late. The bone corpse had completely cut him in half. At this moment, Wang Zhong's figure suddenly retreated and deliberately shouted, "Ayaya, Brother Xiaosong was actually killed, save me." Lu Hua, who was not far away, was surprised. This Xiao Xiaodong's plan actually succeeded. However, he was still so calm just now, but now his acting was so exaggerated. Is he still a person? This guy is really interesting. Lu Hua thought in his heart. Song Xiaosong. Ouyang saw that something was wrong and quickly came over. Unfortunately, it was too late. Song Xiaosong's heart was dug out and swallowed by countless corpses. At the same time, the corpse tide finally began to slowly move towards this side, after a lot of bone corpses died. But what was surprising was that the corpse tide on the left and right were also moving towards this side. Something is wrong. The corpse tide is showing signs of surrounding us. Brother Ouyang, I suggest that we immediately retreat by 1 kilometer. Otherwise, it will be troublesome if we are surrounded. Zhou ran over and said. Ouyang was in a bad mood and coldly snorted. If we retreat now, won't the plan fail? Everyone go. I have to hurry up and deal with the bone corpses here, and let the corpse tide retreat. But, Zhou, don't forget what Master Wu said to you. Do you dare to disobey orders? I don't dare. Zhou heart was bitter. In fact, during this period of time, the reason why their team had suffered so many casualties was because of these so-called master's disciples who didn't know anything. Otherwise, if he personally led them, they would always have a chance to survive. But no matter how dissatisfied he was, he didn't dare to say anything. He shouted, "Everyone listen to orders, quickly find the bone corpses." This Ouyang is actually blindly giving orders again. Lu Hua quietly came to Wang Zhong's side. "How are you?" "I'm okay." "Well, I didn't expect you to be so powerful at the age of 13. Lu Hua sighed, and in his heart he admired Wang Zhong. It seems that many people have died this time. Wang Zhong looked around. In just a short period of time, more than half of their team had died. There's no other way. These so-called master's disciples don't know anything at all. If it weren't for the explosive talisman, I'm afraid they wouldn't be as good as us. Lu Hua refused to admit defeat. Lu Hua Xiaodong. Chao Ji also came over with an ugly face. Something's wrong. The corpse tide has surrounded us. Once surrounded, with the scale of the corpse tide, I'm afraid we won't be able to rush out. Lu Hua said. I also want to say that Ouyang and those people don't care about our lives at all. I'm afraid that once the corpse tide is solved, they will rely on the explosive talisman to leave here. When the two were talking, suddenly, A loud roar came from the corpse tide on both sides. Then, the speed of the corpse tide increased, and their escape route was blocked. If this continues, it will be difficult for them to escape. Not bad, not bad. The corpse tide on both sides is coming. Let's fight and retreat. Ouyang nodded. His remaining 2 junior brothers came closer to him. Wang Zhong, Chao Ji, and Lu Hua quickly formed a small team. While absorbing the other members who were alone, they retreated. More and more skeletons appeared. Ouyang took the remaining 3 disciples and began to retreat. The skeletons along the way were all dealt with by them. Follow them. Wang Zhong took the lead. At this moment Lu Hua, Chao Ji, and the others subconsciously followed. They couldn't help but follow Wang Zhong. Senior brother. That boy called Zhao Xiaodong seems strange. Song Xiaosong and Liang seemed to have an accident with him. A disciple suddenly said. Ouyang's eyes flashed and said, "Let's go over first." Wang Zhong saw Ouyang's group suddenly coming over. He was thinking about how to deal with Ouyang. This Ouyang had his eyes on his sword. Only by finding a way to get rid of him could he rest easy. In the end, Wang Zhong didn't want to leave any trouble for himself. Looking at Lu Hua and Chao Ji, he pondered for a moment and deliberately slowed down his pace. "What are you doing? Why are you so slow?" Ouyang shouted. "Brother Ouyang, our strength is not as good as yours." Chao Ji couldn't help but say, "Humph, really a waste." Ouyang coldly snorted and said to Wang Zhong, "I see that your strength is not bad. Come with me. I have a great use for you." "No." Lu Hua anxiously stood in front of Wang Zhong. "I will go with you." Chapter 138. Lu Hua suddenly stood in front of Wang Zhong and said, "Zhao Xiaodong is just an ordinary member. I'm a corporal. I'll go with you." Wang Zhong was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect Lu Hua to stand up for him. Thinking about it carefully, it was probably because he saved her twice in a row and gave her the iron sword. Wang Zhong's impression of Lu Hua improved. Ouyang coldly said, "I'm doing things. When did it become your turn to interrupt?" "You." Lu Hua was about to retort, but Wang Zhong stopped her and said, "Corporal Lu, there's no need to say anything. I'll go with him." "No, this guy is up to no good. It's too dangerous for you to go with him. Corporal Lu, I hope you can pay attention to your words. I, Ouyang, do things openly. How can it be dangerous for you to go with me?" Ouyang narrowed his eyes. Wang Zhong walked over and said, "Master Ouyang, why are you looking for me? Just now in the corpse tide I noticed several skeletons. Come with me to lure them out." Ouyang threw out a talisman and said, "Take this explosive talisman. It's for self-defense." Wang Zhong took the talisman and sneered. This talisman seemed to have been tampered with. He was afraid that it would explode before he could even shout. However, he still took it. In terms of talisman techniques, he didn't lose to these people. So with a burst of chi in his hand, the talisman's hands and feet disappeared without a trace. "Let's go." Ouyang charged into the corpse tide. Looking at Ouyang's back, Wang Zhong stuck close to him. Ouyang was worthy of being their senior brother. His methods were extremely swift and fierce. For a moment, the corpse tide was in a mess and fell to the ground. However, the deeper they went, the stronger the evil creatures in the corpse tide became. Wang Zhong followed behind him and killed the evil creatures that were alone. Finally, Ouyang pointed to the right and said, "You go. You took me so far. Isn't it too troublesome to kill me? What did you say?" Wang Zhong glanced behind him. He was far away from the group, so there was no need for him to hide anything. "You made me walk so far away because you didn't want anyone to know that you coveted my sword." Ouyang raised his eyebrows. "Then why did you come?" "Yes, because I also have a purpose." "What is it?" "The good stuff on you." Now that the zombies had surrounded them, the people on the outside had no idea what was going on inside. "Haha, interesting. I covet what's yours, and you covet what's mine. Unfortunately, you're still too young. You don't know that the gap between us is like the gap between heaven and earth. Is that so?" Ouyang casually shook his hand, and the evil beings around him were all dispersed. He then smiled and said, "Do you believe that I can kill you on the spot with just one incantation? What a coincidence. I only need to chant a spell to kill you on the spot. Is that so?" Although Ouyang didn't believe it, he couldn't help but feel uneasy when he saw how calm Wang Zhong was. It felt like Zhao Xiaodong really had something on him. Although he felt uneasy, Zhao Xiaodong was too young. He wasn't like him, who had received the inheritance of the masters. Therefore, he didn't believe it at all. Thinking of this, he secretly felt that he was too timid. He was actually afraid of a 13-year-old brat. Forget it, there's no need to be long-winded with you. Remember, in your next life, keep a low profile. After Ouyang finished speaking, he muttered, Omni you blast. Every inheritance's incantation was different. Wang Zhong already knew this. Therefore, Wang Zhong wasn't surprised by Ouyang's incantation. As soon as he finished speaking, other than the evil being's roars, nothing happened. Ouyang was stunned. What's going on? Wang Zhong placed his palm in front of him and said indifferently, It's my turn. Boundless heaven and earth, borrow the power of the universe. Bang! In the next moment, Ouyang's legs exploded, and he fell to the ground. Ouyang's eyes were about to burst. He didn't expect this to happen so suddenly. He screamed, Why, my legs, save me, save me. Go away, all of you. Wang Zhong's bronze sword swept over, and the evil beings near Ouyang were pushed away. Then, he stood in front of Ouyang and cut off Ouyang's arms. This was so that Ouyang would have the ability to counterattack, so he would not be able to do so in advance. So ruthless, so ruthless. Ouyang roared. Now that he had lost his limbs, there was nothing he could do. How did you do it? Why? I just changed the talisman you gave me. When I was behind you, I took the opportunity to stick it on your shoes. Wang Zhong said calmly. When Ouyang gave him the explosive talisman, Wang Zhong saw that there was something wrong with it. Fortunately, he already knew how to make talismans, so he changed it with his energy and took the opportunity to stick it on Ouyang's shoes. All of this was done without anyone noticing. Ouyang was too arrogant to notice it at all. You actually know how to make talismans. Who are you? You can't be a rogue cultivator. Are you a spy from the Light Faction? Light Faction? Wang Zhong shook his head slightly, as it was the first time he heard this term. In order to avoid trouble, Wang Zhong didn't waste time. He killed Ouyang with one sword, and then took away all the talismans and belongings on Ouyang's body. In order to prevent people from finding out when he cleaned up the battlefield, his sword energy stirred continuously on the corpse. When the corpse was finally unrecognizable, he retreated. Oh no! Master Ouyang was killed by the bone corpse. Everyone was retreating when they suddenly heard Wang Zhong's voice. Their expressions changed. What? Ouyang? Ouyang is dead. Chaoji was shocked. Ouyang was one of Master Wu's most capable disciples. Not only was he powerful, but he also had countless life-saving talismans. It was just that they didn't expect him to actually die. Among the crowd, only Lu Hua's mouth curled up slightly. This Zhao Xiaodong was really interesting. She really didn't know how he dealt with Ouyang. Ouyang, Master Ouyang is dead. A lot of bone corpses suddenly appeared. In order to protect me, he sacrificed himself. Wang Zhong shouted anxiously. Looking at it, it really seemed like it was the case. Chao Ji and Lu Hua hurriedly rushed over to support. In a short while, Wang Zhong was brought over. What nonsense are you talking about? How did senior brother Ouyang die? The remaining two disciples rushed over and asked. Didn't I say it clearly just now? Master Ouyang was killed by evil creatures in order to protect me, Wang Zhong said without fear. Protect you? The two disciples were in disbelief. They knew what kind of person senior brother Ouyang was. It was impossible for him to be like this. Where's the corpse? The shorter disciple asked. In the corpse tide. If you don't believe me, you can go and see, Wang Zhong said. The two disciples' mouth twitched. Their strength wasn't high. If even Ouyang died inside, wouldn't they be courting death? Just as they were talking, a corpse tide suddenly rushed over from the direction where Ouyang died. For a moment, corpses covered the sky and covered the earth like a wave, covering the sky above everyone. Not good, Bone Corpse King. It's Bone Corpse King. Chao Ji was experienced and knowledgeable. He immediately recognized it. Retreat, quickly retreat. An overwhelming number of corpses came crashing down, completely blocking out the dim light in the sky. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Wang Zhong picked up 2 explosive talismans that he got from Ouyang and threw them at the 2 disciples. He shouted softly, "Heaven and earth infinite, universe law borrowing." Rumble! The explosion sounded, and the 2 disciples were instantly blown apart. However, a path was instantly opened in front of them. Everyone was stunned for a moment. They didn't know what was going on. However, Wang Zhong was the first to rush out and shouted, "Those 2 are good people. In order to save us, they sacrificed themselves to open up a path. We can't let down their good intentions. Let's run quickly." Everyone was stunned. For a moment, their minds couldn't wrap their heads around it. However, the situation was critical. Seeing Zhao Xiaodong leave, these people quickly left. Behind him, Lu Hua's eyes flashed as she looked at Wang Zhong's back. This fellow was truly surprising. Chapter 139. A group of people took advantage of the road that was blasted open and quickly formed a small team. There were only a dozen people left in this small team. Most of them were injured and were fighting while retreating. The corpse tide is rushing towards us. We have succeeded in leading the way, but we can't be careless. The Bone Corpse King has appeared. He was angered by us and will definitely not give up. Zhou rushed to the front and took out 2 talismans and threw them in front of him without hesitation. For a time, a path was opened in front of the corpse tide that was about to gather. Go! But at this time, a huge corpse wrapped in countless corpses rushed towards them. Wherever it passed, the corpse tide suddenly turned into a black poisonous water. Walala! Black poisonous water fell from the sky, falling down in an instant. Ah! My face, my face! Ah! My leg, my arm! My head, my head! Ah! The people who were splashed by the poisonous water didn't even have time to scream before they turned into a pool of poisonous water. As for Lu Hua, Wang Zhong and others quickly used their strength to block the poisonous water. The poisonous water evaporated instantly and soon formed a mist and floated away. Finally, they left the poisonous water area. Just a moment ago, 3 experts died tragically. At this time, they finally rushed out of the periphery. The Bone Corpse King was still chasing after them. Wang Zhong ran for a while and said, "If we continue to run, even if we leave, I am afraid that the corpse tide will be summoned by the Bone Corpse King again." "Zhao Xiaodong, what do you want to do?" Chao Ji, who attached great importance to Wang Zhong's strength, asked. "I just picked up 3 explosive talismans. They should be able to deal with the Bone Corpse King." Wang Zhong suddenly stopped and turned his head to look at the Bone Corpse King. If the Bone Corpse King is not eliminated, the threat outside the city will still be there. Although Wang Zhong was not willing to help the city lord, but once the corpse tide broke through Snow City, the people in his family would be the unlucky ones. So he did this for his family. "Stop!" Zhou shouted. Several people quickly stopped and formed a circle to resist the surrounding corpse tide. "Give me the explosive talisman, I'll deal with it," Zhou said. At this time, Wang Zhong didn't want to be in the limelight. He handed over 3 explosive charms and said, "I'll leave it to you, Captain. I'll support you." "Yes, Captain. Don't worry." Chao Ji, Lu Hua, and the other Descartes also came over. Zhou nodded and rushed toward Skeletal Corpse King. Lin Bing Doja. He instantly threw out an explosive talisman. The Skeletal Corpse King seemed to know that these explosive charms were not easy to deal with. He grabbed a bunch of corpses and threw them towards the explosive charms. Boom! A large number of corpses were blown away, but the Bone Corpse King did not suffer any losses. Wang Zhong frowned. If this continued, he wouldn't be able to deal with the Bone Corpse King. Originally, he wanted to keep a low profile so that he wouldn't attract the attention of those masters once the battle was over. But after seeing this, he felt that he could no longer keep a low profile. "I'll go and help the captain." Thinking of this, Wang Zhong dashed out after saying that. "Xiaodong." Chao Ji was anxious when he saw this, but he couldn't do anything. He consumed too much energy and couldn't hold on for long if he left the team. "Descartes Chao, you're so lucky. You've recruited an expert." A Descartes said enviously. "Yes, with his skill, he's qualified to be the captain." Another captain also said. Just as they were talking, Wang Zhong had already reached the Skeletal Corpse King. Captain Zhou, I'll attract the attention of the Skeletal Corpse King. You throw the explosive charms when the opportunity arises. Wang Zhong roared. Zhoumu nodded helplessly. Please. Wang Zhong nodded and slashed at the Skeletal Corpse King with the bronze sword in his hand. The reason why he was so confident was because he felt the difference between his strength and the Skeletal Corpse King's strength. He had been hiding his strength until now. But in the previous battle with the other skeletons, others thought that he relied on the bronze sword, but in fact, they didn't know that he relied on his own strength. Therefore, he roughly analyzed that he should have the strength to fight with the Skeletal Corpse King. If not, he could use the talisman he hid to escape. Shadowless swordsmanship. Wang Zhong snorted, and a sword shadow appeared in front of him, and quickly swept toward the Skeletal Corpse King. This move was learned by Wang Zhong before, but he didn't expect that after cultivating his strength, not only would there be more sword shadows, but he could also shoot out countless sword shadows and hit far away. Chi chi chi. When the chi touched the evil creature, it made a harsh sound of metal friction. The Skeletal Corpse King was seriously injured, and also noticed Wang Zhong. It roared and threw a lot of corpses at him. Captain Zhou, now's the time. Wang Zhong split a pile of corpses. Zhoumu didn't say a word, but in his heart, his evaluation of Zhao Xiaodong increased by several points. Then, while the Skeletal Corpse King was dealing with Wang Zhong, 2 explosive charms were quickly thrown at the Skeletal Corpse King's back. Lin Bing Doja. Explode. Boom! Boom! The Skeletal Corpse King's huge body was blown into 2 halves, and its originally strong body quickly weakened by several points. At the same time, the huge corpse tide seemed to be out of control, and was not as manic as before. Sure enough, once the Skeletal Corpse King was injured, its control of the corpse tide was reduced. Wang Zhong understood in his heart, and looked at the Skeletal Corpse King that was cut in half, and rushed over with his sword. Be careful. Zhoumu also ran over and joined hands with Wang Zhong to slash at the Skeletal Corpse King. Roar! The Skeletal Corpse King roared unwillingly and then completely dissipated. The corpse tide is separated. As the Skeletal Corpse King was dealt with, Lu Hua shouted in surprise. The Skeletal Corpse King is dead. The corpse tide has retreated. Zhoumu fell down. His chest was stuffy, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Captain, are you okay? Wang Zhong came over and asked. Just now, I was too anxious and got injured, but it's not a problem. Zhoumu waved his hand. Isn't the corpse tide controlled by the Ghost General? Why is there a Skeletal Corpse King here? Wang Zhong asked. The Ghost General is the realm of evil creatures, while the Skeletal Corpse King is a type. Wang Zhong understood in his heart that there were many evil creatures in the world. There were demons, ghosts, devils, corpses, and all kinds of them were different. But the division of realms was the same. This Skeletal Corpse King was a skeletal corpse, but its realm was in the Ghost General realm. Zhoumu rested for a while and said, Zhao Xiaodong, this time your contribution is the greatest. You can rest assured that this time I will praise you in front of the masters. I believe they will reward you well. In fact, my contribution is not that big. It's mainly because of you and those explosive talismans. Wang Zhong said, You're not bad. If it were someone else, I'm afraid they would have rushed to take the credit. But you don't want it. With that, Zhoumu walked over and continued, Let's go, meet up with the team and return to the city. Half an hour later, the corpse tide that swept through the entire Snow City finally retreated. At the last moment, Master White and Master Wu led their disciples and rushed out to eliminate the evil creatures. Wang Zhong, Chao Ji, Zhoumu, Lu Hua, and the others led the surviving members of the guide team and evacuated to Snow City. In order not to surprise people, Wang Zhong pretended to be seriously injured. He covered his chest and said that it was uncomfortable. The others more or less had injuries on their bodies. The corpse tide has finally retreated. I heard that Master White and Master Wu worked together to repel the corpse tide. The 2 masters are still the best. I heard that the disciples of the 2 masters also contributed a lot. This time, 5 disciples actually died. Hearing this news, The people of the guide team were unhappy. Strictly speaking, the biggest contribution this time was their guide team. But now that the corpse tide had retreated, the people in the city thought that it was the work of the two masters, which made them very unhappy. They felt that they worked hard, and the credit went to the leaders. Chapter 140. Strictly speaking, this corpse tide was all thanks to you and Captain Zhou, Zhao Xiaodong. Otherwise, how could the corpse tide have retreated if the Bone Corpse King hadn't died? In an inn outside the city lord's mansion, a brawny man continued unhappily. Now, it's all thanks to the masters. We the guides who risked our lives, didn't even mention it. This time, because of the victory, Zhou Mu, as the captain, specially invited several of his subordinates to drink and eat with Wang Zhong. Hearing this, Zhou Mu quickly shook his head and said, "Defeng, keep your voice down. If the disciples of the masters heard you, I'm afraid they will find trouble with you." "Well, I'm sorry, Captain. I drank a little too much and was a little unconvinced. To be honest, those few disciples are not as good as us. Didn't they just rely on the explosive talismans in their hands?" Defeng said. Chaoji nodded slightly. "Several of my experts were in danger because of those disciples. They all died." With that, he picked up his wine glass and shouted, "Brothers, have a safe journey." The wine in the glass spilled on the ground. Then he poured himself another glass and drank it in one gulp. Wang Zhong drank tea. After taking a sip, he asked, "Since those masters are so powerful, why didn't they give us more defensive items? If there were more defensive items, the casualties wouldn't be so high." Zhou Mu bitterly said, "Our guide team's nickname is the Death Team. To them, we will die sooner or later, so naturally, they won't give us those precious things. Then this life is really not worth it." Wang Zhong coldly said, "There's no other way. In the end, our city still needs the two masters. Otherwise, without those masters, the city will lose its protection. That will be troublesome. Captain Zhou, we have masters here. Do you know if other cities are the same? What about the royal family? Wang Zhong has lived here for so long and has never gone out, so he is very curious about other cities in this world." Zhou Mu shook his head and said, "Because there are many evil creatures along the way between cities, no one will go out of the city except for those who are escorting and transporting goods, so I haven't been to other cities." As he spoke, Zhou Mu looked at Lu Hua, who was silently eating by herself, and said, "Miss Lu seems to live outside the city?" Lu Hua put down his chopsticks and nodded slightly. "Lu Family Village." "Lu Family Village? I've seen it on maps and documents. It's a 3-day journey from here." A strong man was surprised. "How did you get here?" "I walked over." "Squad leader Lu is really amazing. You actually came here from that side at such a young age. I heard that you passed by the Gaojia village, right? The evil creatures in the Gaojia village have been causing a ruckus for many years. The things inside are extremely ferocious. Nowadays, many people take a detour around that place," Chaoji said. For some reason, when Lu Hua said this, his expression suddenly became a lot worse. He pushed his empty bowl aside and stood up, saying to Zhou Mu, "Captain, now that the matter outside the city is over, I'm going to go home." Zhou Mu was stunned and his face darkened. "Are you going to do that?" Lu Hua nodded. "I'm already 28. I can't wait any longer." Lu Hua was tested to have a 3rd-grade spiritual root. In theory, if nothing unexpected happened to her, she could only live for 2 years at most. When the others heard this, they were all stunned. They didn't know what was going on with Lu Hua. "Squad leader Lu, what do you think about a few days later? When this place is stable, I'll personally send someone to go back with you," Zhou Mu said solemnly. "Captain, the guide team has suffered heavy casualties. You don't have time at all in a short period of time." Lu Hua shook his head slightly and said helplessly, "As for me, I'm already 28. I can't wait any longer." Zhou Mu nodded. "I'll try my best to help you." "Okay, then I'll go first." Lu Hua cupped his hands at everyone. "Everyone, I'll go back to the camp first. Take care, Squad Leader Lu." "Goodbye, Squad Leader Lu." After Lu Hua left, everyone shook their heads and sighed. What a good woman. She can go to the hall and go to the battlefield. What a pity. She's already 28. Sigh, there are only 2 years left. No wonder squad leader Lu hasn't talked about marriage yet. Zhou frowned. Alright, let's eat. Why talk about squad leader Lu? Everyone is concerned about squad leader Lu. But Captain, why did squad leader Lu go back? Chaoji was curious. Cut the crap. Let's eat well, and go back to the camp to rest. I'll inform everyone later to go to the Hall of Masters to meet the 2 masters. Everyone nodded. Everyone understood that the masters wanted to meet them. Hearing that they wanted to meet the masters, Wang Zhong raised his eyebrows. He was thinking about what to say next. After eating, Wang Zhong did not go back immediately. Instead, he booked a guest room nearby. In this battle, he got a lot of good stuff from Ouyang. There was a pile of talisman papers, many of which he had never seen before. It was a pity that Willy had used up his biggest explosive talisman. However, it did not matter. Ouyang had his own handwritten copy, which recorded some of the talismans and even swordsmanship that he had learned. Those were good stuff. He originally only knew 4 types of talisman techniques, but now he knew a few more. For example, the meditation talisman could keep one's mind calm. The flame talisman could throw out a large ball of fire with high lethality. The strength talisman could be used on weapons to increase their hardness. Unfortunately, he did not have the explosive talisman that he wanted the most. This handwritten copy was extremely precious, but it could not be found by others. As time was tight, he only glanced at it briefly. Then, he hid it well and left the inn. When he arrived at the military camp, he saw Chaoji walking over. Zhao Xiaodong. Corporal Chao, what can I do for you? Pack up. We'll go to the Hall of Masters later. Although outsiders think that most of the credit goes to the masters, we've worked hard too. We'll definitely be rewarded. You might even be valued by the masters at such a young age, and be taken in as a disciple. My spiritual root is only level 2. I'm not that lucky, Wang Zhong said helplessly. Let's not talk about this. Let's go. The 2 of them returned to the military camp to pack up. As they were going to meet the masters, they could not wear too dirty clothes. Otherwise, they would be seen as rude and disrespectful. Secondly, Chaoji also told Wang Zhong many things to take note of. For example, when meeting the masters, one must not be long-winded. If one did not ask, one should not speak carelessly. Then there were rules such as saluting. Finally, after the time it took for 2 incense sticks to burn, Zhou Mu and the other captains led their members to the Hall of Masters. Xiaodong. As Wang Zhong was walking, Lu Hua, who was beside him, quietly walked behind him. Corporal Lu, what's the matter? Wang Zhong nodded slightly. After we come out of the Hall of Masters, come to the entrance of the military camp. There's something I want to talk to you about. After Lu Hua finished speaking, she walked to the side as if there was no one around. Wang Zhong glanced at Lu Hua in surprise. Why was this woman looking for him? The Hall of Masters was located in the City Lord Mansion. It was a palace built by City Lord Zhou Yong for the masters. As soon as he arrived, he saw a row of disciples in white waiting there. Everyone, the 2 masters have been waiting for a long time. Follow me. A disciple walked over and cupped his hands. Thank you, Zhou Mu said. A group of about 20 people walked up the stairs. Along the way, Wang Zhong looked around inside. The power of the City Lord Mansion was probably not as great as the 2 masters. In other words, the political power of this world should be divided into traditional political power and the political power of the masters. I wonder what other places are like, Wang Zhong thought to himself. He had an impulse to go out and take a look. Chapter 141. On the way here, Wang Zhong had already thought about what he was going to do next. He had lived in Snow City for so many years and understood a lot of things. It could be said that if he stayed here until he was 20 years old, it would be difficult for his strength to increase. When he was 20 years old, his lifespan would be up, and it would be very troublesome. Therefore, the best way was to go out and see the outside world to increase his strength. Moreover, when he was dealing with Ouyang, he asked if he was a member of the Light faction. Listening to his tone, it seemed that the Light faction had a grudge with them. Now that I have grasped the basics of my strength, in the entire Snow City, only the 2 masters are my biggest opponents. The others are nothing to worry about, Wang Zhong secretly thought, and was even more determined to leave this place. Finally, he arrived at the master's hall. It was not very luxurious, but it was decorated in an ancient style. The area was very big, and once he entered, there was a huge incense cauldron at the entrance, with white smoke floating above it. It smelled like sandalwood. Master Wu and Master White stood at the side, while City Lord Zhou Yong sat at the side, looking at Zhou Mu and the others. The leader of the guide team, Zhou Mu, greets the City Lord, Master Wu, Master White. Greetings, the City Lord. Greetings, the masters. The others also knelt on the ground, bowing their heads and shouting. And no need to be so polite. Zhou Yong nodded slightly. The corpse tide has retreated. Zhou Mu, you did well. I heard that you and a member of the team killed the Bone Corpse King? It's this little brother Zhao Xiaodong. Zhou Mu pointed at Wang Zhong. Zhao Xiaodong was not afraid in the face of danger, and his courage is outstanding. You did well. Wang Zhong said. Captain Zhou is too kind. City Lord, 2 masters. What I did was just to attract the attention of the Bone Corpse King. If Captain Zhou hadn't used the explosive talisman on the Bone Corpse King, we wouldn't have been able to deal with it. You know how to be humble at such a young age. Not bad. Zhou Yong said lightly. How old are you? Master Wu asked. I'm 13, Wang Zhong replied. 13 has joined the guide team. His spiritual root talent should be at level 2, right? Yes. Okay, got it. Master Wu nodded, then looked at the crowd and said, Everyone has contributed greatly in the previous battle. You should be rewarded. As they spoke, the disciples took out items one by one. This is a sword that I personally consecrated. Captain Zhou, I'll leave it to you. Thank you, Master. This is an explosive talisman. This is, soon, the 2 masters gave out their rewards one by one. However, when it came to Wang Zhong, he was only rewarded with a few strength talismans. When it came to Lu Hua, it was the same. He was only rewarded with a few strength talismans. Alright, I've given you your rewards. Your next task is to gradually deal with the evil creatures outside the city. Keep the official roads open, and let the people live and work in peace. Do you understand? Master Wu said lightly. Yes, Master. Zhou Mu pondered for a moment. Holding the sword that was given to him, he lowered his head and said, But Master, Zhao Xiaodong and platoon leader Lu Hua have made great contributions. That? Captain Zhou, what are you trying to say? Master White said, if I may be so bold as to say, Zhao Xiaodong and Lu Hua went through fire and water. Without them, we couldn't have won. Humph. Do we need you to tell us what to do? Master Wu snorted and looked at Wang Zhong and Lu Hua. You too. One of you has a lifespan of 20, and the other has a lifespan of 30. No matter how good the treasures I give you are, will they be useful? This subordinate understands. Zhou Mu sighed. I, Wu Jun, have always been fair in my rewards and punishments. Currently, our city has just experienced a great war, so I don't have many treasures. But since you said so, I'll give Zhao Xiaodong and Lu Hua 1,000 taels of silver each. Although you two won't live for long, this money can be given to your families. Thank you, Master, Lu Hua said hurriedly. Wang Zhong nodded. Thank you, Master. All right, you may leave. The group left the Hall of Masters. After leaving the City Lord Mansion, Zhou Mu looked behind him and sighed. Zhao Xiaodong, Lu Hua, I didn't expect it to be like this. Captain, don't blame yourself. You've done your best, Lu Hua said. Besides, this money is very useful to me. Are you sure you want to go back? Lu Hua nodded. Yes, I have to go home and prepare. All right then. Zhou Mu sighed. Although there aren't many people in the guide team, I'll try my best to find a few people to help you. Everyone chatted. After returning to the barracks, the City Lord Mansion sent over the rewards. Wang Zhong received a pile of talismans and 1,000 taels of silver. Because he had just gone through a big battle, Zhou Mu allowed Wang Zhong to go back and rest for a day. After receiving the order, Wang Zhong didn't go home immediately. Instead, he went to meet Lu Hua at the agreed place. When I went to the Hall of Masters, Corporal Lu asked me to meet her at the entrance of the barracks. I don't know why. Wang Zhong pondered as he walked. Lu Hua should be going back to her hometown, the Lu family village, soon, right? From the conversation between her and the captain, it seems that she has something to do at home. This matter has to be settled as soon as possible. I don't know what it is. It just so happens that I want to leave Snow City now and go out to see other places. It's not a bad idea to take this opportunity to leave. Lu Hua only has 2 years left to live. It would be great if I could examine her body. This way, I can know what changes will happen to her body when her lifespan is about to end. All of a sudden, Wang Zhong thought about a lot of things. When he finally arrived at the entrance of the barracks and saw Lu Hua at the door, Wang Zhong was stunned. At this moment, Lu Hua had changed into casual clothes. She was wearing a simple white dress, and her long hair was casually draped over her shoulders. This pretty appearance was completely different from her previous appearance on the battlefield. Zhao Xiaodong. Lu Hua saw Wang Zhong and hurriedly waved at him. Wang Zhong walked over and said, I almost didn't recognize you when you were dressed like this. After saying that, Wang Zhong sighed in his heart. No wonder the dead Ouyang had taken a fancy to Lu Hua. Looking at her appearance, any man would probably have thoughts about her. Of course, other than himself, he didn't have any thoughts. The most important thing in his heart now was to increase his strength and survive when he was 20 years old. I've already applied for leave and left here, so there's no need to wear the military uniform, Lu Hua said. Okay, when are you leaving? In 2 days. After thinking about it, Lu Hua took out a cloth bag from the bag behind her. She opened it and took out a sword with a scabbard and handed it to Wang Zhong. This is the sword you gave me. I bought a scabbard for it. Now, I'm officially returning it to you. Wang Zhong was stunned. You're looking for me for this? What else? Lu Hua finished speaking and sighed. I also want to give you some other treasures, but I don't have many. Besides, when I go back home, I have a big use for it. You misunderstood. What I mean is, this sword is useless to me. Useless? Xiaodong, this sword is a good sword. It's obviously consecrated by a master. It's much better than my previous sword. You must have spent a lot to buy it, right? How can you give it to me like this? I already have it, so this sword is indeed useless to me. If you like it, take it. This. Lu Hua was actually a little happy. She actually couldn't bear to return such a good sword. After all, she used the sword very well. However, how could she take such a good sword for herself? Therefore, Lu Hua was very embarrassed. In the end, she gritted her teeth and said reluctantly, No, you can take it. Wang Zhong was amused by Lu Hua's appearance. He thought for a moment and said, If you're really embarrassed, I have a suggestion. Suggestion? Yes, help me do a few things. If it's possible, you really don't have to return this sword to me. Then, okay, tell me. I'll do it as long as it's within my ability. You can definitely do it. If it's possible, give me a body check. Huh? Lu Hua was stunned. Then, her originally kind face instantly turned cold. Chapter 142. Lu Hua was taken aback by Wang Zhong's words. Following that, her originally kind face instantly turned cold. Zhao Xiaodong, I thought you were a good lad. I didn't expect you to be like that. What are you talking about? Wang Zhong frowned. You said you were going to check my body, but you didn't admit it. You misunderstood. Wang Zhong did not expect Lu Hua to have such thoughts. He quickly explained. What I mean is, don't you still have 2 years to live? Before that, I need to check your body to see what's wrong with your body that's causing your lifespan to be shortened. Don't you only have 7 years left? Why are you checking my body? Lu Hua said angrily. Because you only have 2 years left. The evil thing in your body must have grown. Wang Zhong's gaze was solemn as he looked around. He leaned over and whispered. I suspect that the reason why our lifespan is shortened is not because our lifespan is reaching its end, but because someone wants to kill us. What? Lu Hua had never thought of that. She had seen other people who had reached the end of their lifespan die in the past. She also found it strange that those people died, but she did not think too deeply about it. After all, this world had existed for so long, and everyone's style of doing things had always been the same. The lower the spiritual root, the shorter the lifespan. It was an ironclad law. But now, after hearing Wang Zhong's words, she was very puzzled. Zhao Xiaodong. What do you mean? Corporal Lu, it's a long story. Keep this sword. Other than checking your body, my other request is to leave the city with you. You want to leave the city too? Lu Hua felt that the more she interacted with Zhao Xiaodong, the more she could not see through Zhao Xiaodong. Yes, we'll leave the city together. Only then can we figure out the secret of our short lifespan. All right then. Lu Hua was not confident about returning to the village by herself, but with Zhao Xiaodong accompanying her, she felt a lot more confident. After all, she could tell from the previous battle that Zhao Xiaodong was very strong. He would definitely be a great help. I'll go home and pack up first. I'll come over the day after tomorrow. Okay, I'll talk to Captain Zhou. Come back to the village with me. It's a deal. Yes. It was already dark outside. After knowing that the corpse tide had retreated, the peaceful snow city once again regained its former liveliness. The corpse tide has retreated. Long live the master, long live the master. Crackle. A burst of firecrackers sounded. This was the firecrackers set off by some merchants to celebrate. The shops that were originally closed for the day began to open for business, one after another. The corpse tide has retreated, it finally retreated, but where is my son? Zhao Dehai opened the door early and looked at the end of the street absent-mindedly. The couple looked forward to the stars and the moon, but they didn't see Zhao Xiaodong come back. The Lin Prefecture couple and Lin Wu were also at the auspicious inn. The couple sighed and wondered how Zhao Xiaodong was doing. Old Zhao, let's go back to the house first. You've been standing outside all night. Lin Prefecture came over and said, it's okay. Now that the corpse tide has retreated, Xiaodong should be back. I have to see him. Zhao Dehai shook his head. Lin Zhou opened his mouth. He really wanted to say that it was useless for him to stand guard here. However, when the words reached his mouth, he swallowed them back down. Woa! My son! Husband! At this time, a heart-wrenching cry came from the street in the distance. Everyone looked at the sound and saw that at the end of the street, several carts were slowly pushed by several coachmen. Just like before, these corpses were casually wrapped in straw mats. Some of them were missing arms or legs, and some of them were missing their faces. These corpses would be identified by each family. Those who could be recognized would be buried by others. Those who couldn't be recognized would be taken back and buried in a random place. Zhao Dehai and Wei Yan saw the corpses on the carts and suddenly became anxious. Son, my son, don't be agitated. This cart. Why is Xiaodong here? Lin Prefecture quickly pulled Zhao Dehai and said, yeah, Yan, doesn't Xiaodong know martial arts? He's fine. Xiaoji also cried and said. Among these people, only Lin Wu's expression was calm. After all, she had been practicing martial arts with Wang Zhong since childhood. She knew Wang Zhong's strength. As long as his luck wasn't too bad, he should be fine. Just as she was thinking, the carts pushing the corpses slowly came over. The old coachman named Asan glanced at Zhao Dehai and said lightly, claim the corpses. There's a corpse that looks like your son. What? Zhao Dehai sat on the ground. Lin Prefecture went over and scolded. What nonsense are you talking about? How is that possible? If you don't want to claim it, I'll take the cart away. The old coachman had seen many families like this and was about to leave. Wait a minute. Wei Yan quickly came out and looked at the countless corpses on the cart, trembling. Is my son really here? Yes, a teenager died a horrible death. His face was bitten by the corpses. The old coachman said lightly. It can't be. At this time, even Lin Wu, who didn't believe that Wang Zhong was dead, couldn't stay calm. Let me see. If he's alive, I want to see him. If he's dead, I want to see his corpse. Lin Wu said in a low voice. Okay. The old coachman lifted the mat, and a figure about the same height as Wang Zhong came into view. This corpse was also wearing bamboo armor. One of his arms was missing, and his face was scratched. It was impossible to see his original appearance. This is my son. Wei Yin trembled and rolled her eyes. She was about to faint. Take the corpse away. If anything happens to you, don't blame me. The old coachman said. No, this isn't Xiaodong's corpse. His hands aren't that thin. Lin Wu had close contact with Wang Zhong, so she could tell at a glance. Are you sure? This child is only in his teens. The old coachman said. Father, mother. At this time Wang Zhong's voice came. Seeing him, Zhao Dahai and Wei Yin immediately became excited. Son, our son is fine. When the old coachman saw this, he shrank his head and muttered. It's really not him. Then this child is probably from the family in the east of the city. The old coachman slowly left. As for Wang Zhong, he carried a big bag of silver into the house. Son, you're really fine. That's great, that's great. Ancestors bless you. Zhao Dahai shouted happily. Lin Wu excitedly hugged Wang Zhong. Xiaodong, I knew that person wasn't you. You're not as thin as him. Xiao Wu knows me best. Wang Zhong put the silver on the table and said, Don't worry. Not only am I fine, but the two masters also rewarded me. This is their reward. Zhao Dahai looked and was immediately happy. Good, good. I didn't expect that they would reward you. My son is really amazing. Wei Yin also said excitedly. Li Bo, close the restaurant today. I'll cook again to celebrate. Zhao Dahai shouted. Okay. Very soon the whole family sat down in unison. During the meal, Wang Zhong roughly recounted what happened on the battlefield. Of course, he omitted all the thrilling parts about himself. No wonder they rewarded you. It turns out that you actually made a great contribution, Lin Prefecture said. Son, then you don't have to go out this time, right? Wei Yin quickly asked as she picked up a drumstick for Wang Zhong. Speaking of business, Wang Zhong put down his chopsticks and said solemnly, I came back this time to tell you that I'm afraid I won't be able to come back for a while after leaving this time. What? Everyone was shocked when they heard that. Lin Wu heard that and subconsciously pulled Wang Zhong's sleeve. Her eyes were filled with reluctance. Chapter 143. Wang Zhong sighed in his heart. He also knew that leaving Lin Wu so soon after their wedding wasn't a good idea. After all, they hadn't even consummated their marriage yet. But there was no other way. He only had this one good opportunity to leave the city. It wouldn't be so easy to leave the city in the future. After all, he was already a member of the guide team. According to the rules, after becoming a guide team member, he would often patrol outside and occasionally carry out some missions to attract monsters. During this period, leaving the team was strictly prohibited. If he left without permission, he would be considered a deserter. At that time, even if they couldn't catch Zhao Xiaodong, they would still deal with his family. So he naturally had to seize this rare opportunity to leave with Lu Hua. Why do you want to leave all of a sudden? Zhao Dahai thought for a moment and said, Can you not leave? I can use my connections to arrange a better position for you. Wang Zhong shook his head and said, There's no need. This trip will be good for me. Are you really leaving? Lin Wu asked. Yes, but don't worry. I'll come back as soon as possible. This trip is also to find a way to continue living. To reassure everyone, Wang Zhong said truthfully. Really? Xiaoji suddenly became excited. Yes, but before that, don't tell anyone about this. Wang Zhong reminded. Okay. Zhao Dahai sighed softly. It's just a pity for Xiao Wu. She just got married and... I'm fine. No matter what, I'll wait. Lin Wu said. When they were almost done eating, Wang Zhong went back to his room to rest. Night fell. Everything was quiet. Wang Zhong and Lin Wu were lying down. He told Lin Wu about what he saw during this trip. When she heard that the corpses could actually move and kill people, Lin Wu's mouth was slightly open. She was very surprised. However, even though she was afraid, after thinking for a long time, Lin Wu said, Xiaodong, I've been thinking about it for a long time. If it's possible, can you let me go with you? This way we can take care of each other outside. Wang Zhong immediately shook his head. It's too dangerous outside. Even I don't have the confidence to win. Is that so? Lin Wu was slightly disappointed. She understood that she was too weak and would only be a burden if she went out. Xiaodong, I will work hard in my cultivation and strive to become stronger. Oh right. How's the talisman crafting that I taught you a few days ago coming along? Look. Lin Wu took out a piece of talisman paper. Wang Zhong looked at it. Compared to Gao Jinren's talisman paper, Lin Wu's talisman paper was still too rough. It couldn't be helped. According to his discovery, talent was really important on the path of cultivation. His spiritual root talent was first grade, coupled with the cultivation method he learned before. It was like a divine help to him. Lin Wu, on the other hand, had been learning for so long, but she wasn't as good as the 1 month he learned. The big gap was obvious. Of course, he didn't attack Lin Wu. When he told her, he still said that the drawing was very good. Practice more and find the trick. You will definitely become stronger. Wang Zhong said as he took out the handwritten copy he got from Ouyang and began to learn with Lin Wu. Another day passed. On the morning of the third day, Wang Zhong packed his luggage and was ready to set off. Xiaodong, these are the clothes I made for you. You must pay attention to keeping warm when you're outside. Lin Wu said as she held a large coat. This is the sesame seed cake mother made for you yesterday. Remember to eat it when you're hungry on the way. And these chicken legs, duck legs. Eat these as soon as possible. Otherwise they will spoil. Zhao Dehai said. Xiaoji said. These are shoes. You should bring an extra pair. If you wear them out, you won't have anything to wear. Wang Zhong was touched and accepted these things and said, Father, mother, father-in-law, mother-in-law, Xiao Wu, don't worry. I will come back as soon as possible. After chatting for a while, Wang Zhong took advantage of the darkness of the early morning to carry his bag and the bronze sword and leave. When he walked to the barracks, the sky was already bright. As soon as he arrived at the entrance of the barracks, he saw Lu Huo waiting for him from afar. Captain Zhou Mu was also with her. Captain Sergeant Lu. Wang Zhong walked over to greet them. Zhao Xiaodong, Sergeant Lu told me that you want to go with her. I really didn't expect you to go. Have you thought about it carefully? Zhou Mu said. Well, I have already thought about it. Good. Here are your mission tokens. Zhou Mu handed over 2 pieces of paper. According to the rules of the city lord, members of the guide team, who leave Fan City, must have a mission token. Otherwise, they will be regarded as leaving without permission. You two keep the tokens well. Thank you, Captain. Lu Huo nodded. Well, that's all I can do. Come back as soon as you finish your work. If you need help, you can come over and ask, Zhou Mu said. Lu Huo nodded. It was very difficult to be a guide team now. It was already very rare for Zhou Mu to say this. Well, let's go as soon as possible. Wang Zhong and Lu Huo walked towards the city gate. Arriving at the city gate, Lu Huo flashed the mission order to the soldiers guarding the city. The soldier looked at it and nodded. The guide team is out on a mission. Open the gate. Thank you. Lu Huo walked out. Once again out of the city gate. Compared to a few days ago, the sky outside the city was much brighter now. It was very comfortable to be bathed in sunlight. But what was not harmonious was that a group of corpses and guides were collecting the corpses outside. Some of these corpses were skeletons, while others were people who had died in the battle a few days ago. These corpses needed to be disposed of to prevent them from rotting and spreading a plague. Zhao Xiaodong, before we go to my hometown, I need to confess something to you. Speak, Wang Zhong said. The reason why I am in a hurry to go home this time is because my hometown is very dangerous. Not only that, but it is also very likely that we will pass by some strange places such as Gaojia Village. This was already the umpteenth time Wang Zhong had heard the words Gaojia Village. He nodded and said, I already guessed that something bad might have happened to your hometown. You guessed it? Lu Huo was stunned. Then why are you still going? I said, we are all short-lived people. If we hide in the city all the time, how can our strength grow? When I reach 20 years old, won't I still die? Yes. Tell me, what's going on with Gaojia Village? Well, speaking of this Gaojia Village, strange things have been happening there since about 10 years ago. At that time, I was only in my teens. When I was in the village, I was tested to have a 3rd grade spiritual root talent. After that, I joined the village's guide team. But I didn't expect that a spiritual monster would appear in the mountains of our village. From Lu Huo's words, Wang Zhong learned why Lu Hu came here. When she was in her teens, she had already joined the Lu family village's guide team. Unexpectedly, an unknown spiritual monster appeared in the mountains of their village and ate many people. Because of this, their guide team of more than 20 people went up the mountain. But they did not expect that the guide team would suffer heavy casualties in that battle. Lu Hu was the only one who pretended to be dead and survived. Because there were too many people, the spiritual monster could not eat too many people. In the end, it only left with 2 corpses, and Lu Hu went down the mountain. Since then, the villagers of the Lu family village did not dare to go up the mountain again. In order to deal with this spiritual monster, Lu Hu resolutely decided to go to the nearest snow city, which was here, to ask the 2 masters for help. She did not expect that she would not meet the masters. Instead, she stayed here and became a member of the guide team. However, she did not want to leave, because she found that she could learn a lot of useful things here. So, she wanted to learn these things, and go back to the village to deal with the spiritual monster. Chapter 144. After understanding Lu Hu's situation, Wang Zhong sighed. He didn't expect Lu Hu's experience to be so difficult. I only have 2 years left to live, so before that, I must return to the village. Even if I have to die together with the spirit, I must get rid of it, Lu Hu said. Every village should have a master guarding it. Why didn't the master in your village do anything? Wang Zhong asked. Just like Master Wu and Master White in Snow City, those masters won't do anything unless it's absolutely necessary, Lu Hu said helplessly. Yes. This time, I must get rid of that spirit to avenge my father. Lu Hu clenched her teeth. Back then, my father was killed by that spirit. I will remember it for the rest of my life. At that time, the evil creature from Gaojia village also appeared, right? How did you come from the village? Wang Zhong asked. It was also very dangerous. At that time, the evil creature from Gaojia village appeared. But no one took it seriously, because they thought it wasn't strong. After that, I followed a caravan to Snow City. That time we passed by Gaojia village. I wanted to go there quickly, but after a strange wind, a figure appeared. Fortunately, I was small at that time, so I hid in their luggage. Did you see the monster? No, there was a strange wind, and I was scared, so I didn't dare to look outside. Well then this time, are we still going to pass by Gaojia village? Wang Zhong asked. At this time, the 2 had already entered the forest. Lu Hu took out a map and said, if we go to my hometown, passing by Gaojia village is indeed the shortest way, but it's too dangerous, so I plan to go around it. Her slender finger pointed at a small mountain beside Gaojia village on the map. There are 2 ways to go around Gaojia village. One is a big river, but the river is too big. With the evil creature causing so much trouble recently, I'm afraid there are no people to ferry it, so we can only take this mountain road. This mountain road is rugged, and there is a black cliff at the top. After climbing over the cliff, we will reach my home. Wang Zhong nodded. In fact, he still wanted to go to the Gaojia village. However, after thinking about it, he didn't have a powerful talisman like the explosive talisman, so it was better to keep a low profile. Alright then, let's go to the black cliff. After finishing their discussion, the 2 of them started walking. Corporal Lu, have you been to other places? Are there other places like Snow City where there are 2 masters in charge? Wang Zhong asked the question that he had always been curious about. Lu Hu said, I heard from other caravans that the nearby cities are indeed the same, but there are some differences in other places. Oh, for example? Lu Hu didn't answer. Instead, she asked, do you know how many cities there are in our country? I only know that our country is Huichao, but I'm not sure how many cities there are. There are a total of 67 big cities. After leaving these cities, there are other countries. I once heard from a caravan that there are corpses everywhere in a country. The people there are all slaves, and those in power don't care about the suffering of the people. Won't there be a riot? Wang Zhong was stunned. The people there are just ordinary people. Yeah. Wang Zhong's heart sank when he heard that. It was just like Snow City. If the masters were to take action, the ordinary people wouldn't be able to resist at all. Fortunately, that country is just a small country, Lu Hua said. The two of them chatted as they walked. As they walked, Wang Zhong looked at the surrounding scenery. The scenery was the same as ordinary places, but he occasionally found some corpses that made him frown. It seems that the outside of the city is really different from the inside. There are actually so many evil creatures outside the city. Around noon, the forest finally became thinner and thinner. The two of them could vaguely hear the sound of water flowing. We're almost at the Black Cliff. When we get there, we'll reach the Black Cliff. We'll just follow the vines up there. Perhaps it was because they were about to go home, so Lu Hua looked particularly excited. However, when the two of them walked to the bottom of the Black Cliff, Wang Zhong frowned. He could see evil creatures, so he could see at a glance that there were many evil creatures hanging on the Black Cliff. At the bottom of the cliff, there were dozens of corpses that had fallen to their deaths. Auntie, Lu Hua saw one of the corpses and immediately rushed over in shock. However, these corpses were all rotten and maggots were crawling on them. So Wang Zhong immediately stopped Lu Hua. Don't go over. They're already dead. Whoa, why are they dead? Auntie, Ergo. Lu Hua suddenly recognized many familiar faces on these corpses. These people were all killed by the fall. Wang Zhong lowered his head and used a bamboo pole to pick up the corpses and found that the bones were all broken. Combined with the evil creatures floating in the sky, he immediately guessed why this happened. I'm afraid that these people wanted to pass through this black cliff and accidentally fell down while climbing, Wang Zhong analyzed. That's impossible. We've lived in the Lu family village for generations. It's surrounded by mountains. Several mountains are even steeper than this, but no one has ever died from a fall. Lu Hua immediately retorted. Then, what if you encountered an evil creature while climbing? No, evil creatures generally don't appear in the air, Lu Hua said. Wang Zhong pointed at the cliff above and said, unfortunately, it's full of evil creatures. How do you know? This is one of my talents. I can feel that the vines hanging on this cliff are all evil creatures. So once someone climbs up or down and is disturbed by these evil creatures, I'm afraid that they will fall. So someone is deliberately harming people. Lu Hua did not doubt Wang Zhong's words. After all, Wang Zhong had no reason to lie to her. Well, you can say that. Lu Hua thought for a moment, took out a flint, and quickly lit a pile of weeds. Corporal Lu, what are you? Since we can't go through here, I'll burn this place to prevent people from falling to their deaths. Then Lu Hua ignited the vines on the cliff. There was a lot of hay on the cliff, so the fire quickly burned with the help of the wind. Plop! Looking at the fire in front of her, Lu Hua knelt on the ground and shouted to the pile of corpses. Fellow villagers, have a safe journey. At this time, Wang Zhong walked to the side of a corpse and picked up the luggage. Corporal Lu, these villagers are willing to risk their lives to come down. I'm afraid there's something wrong. According to this route, they should be looking for you. Maybe they have some letters on them. After rummaging for a while, he found a white cloth in the backpack with a line of words written on it. Xiao Hua, Huzi is missing. The village is haunted. Several people have died. Chapter 145. Looking at the degree of decomposition of these corpses, it should have been half a month ago. The corpse tide had just started then, Wang Zhong said. No, I have to hurry. Otherwise, the villagers will be finished. Huzi will also die. Who is Huzi? My cousin. He's only 16 years old. It seems like we can only go through Gaojia village, Wang Zhong said. Zhao Xiaodong, you don't have to go. I won't blame you. After all, I know that it's very dangerous. If you don't want to go, you don't have to. I'm going there for myself. There's no need to say more. Wang Zhong waved his hand. Lu Hua's eyes flashed with a trace of emotion. Thank you, Xiaodong. I promise that no matter how much you check me in the future, I'll be fine. After saying that, she immediately realized that her tone wasn't right. She quickly explained, I meant to check if there's a problem with my spiritual roots. Wang Zhong was amused. He said, it's already noon. Let's leave early. He took out a drumstick and gave it to her. Let's talk while we walk. Thank you. They were about to go to Gaojia village. Both of them were on high alert. Especially Lu Hua, who began to talk about the evil creature that killed people in Gaojia village. At first, that evil creature didn't kill many people. At first, everyone thought that those people had disappeared. That was until one time, when a guide team went to Gaojia village. There, they found many people hanging in the houses of Gaojia village. They had turned into dried corpses. Were their blood sucked dry? Wang Zhong asked. I don't know the details. In short, the evil being in that place doesn't kill people often. Every few months, more than a dozen people will go missing. It's a pity that so many people have died, but we don't even know what it looks like. Wang Zhong became more and more curious about this spiritual monster. According to his understanding, although ordinary evil creatures would harm people, there would still be corpses left behind. Furthermore, evil creatures would harm people randomly. They would not regularly harm a group of people every few months. I'm afraid that this matter isn't that simple. Before we go to Gaojia village, it's best to look around. Just as he finished speaking, a scholarly-looking young man suddenly rushed out and shouted, Help, help! Who are you? Lu Hua shouted. Wang Zhong immediately scanned the person. Other than his dirty clothes and face, there was nothing strange about him. There was no doubt that he was a human. Who are you? Why did you shout for help? Wang Zhong asked. Plop. When the man saw that Wang Zhong and Lu Hua were both holding swords, he knew that they were not ordinary people. Thus, he immediately knelt down and begged, Two heroes, please save me. My family and I were heading to Snow City to seek refuge, but we didn't expect that when we were passing by here, a black wind suddenly appeared and swept my wife and son away. I was knocked unconscious, and when I woke up my wife and son were gone. Sob, sob, sob. Later on, I heard crying in front of me, begging the two heroes to save my wife and son. Lu Hua was kind-hearted and immediately nodded. What kind of monster is up ahead? Could that be the Gao village? No, no. The Gao village is such a dangerous place. How could I let you save me? That place is a wasteland. Because the Gao village was not big, it was not shown on the map. Everyone only knew that the Gao village was in the nearby forest. After hearing the man's words, Lu Hua said to Wang Zhong, Saving people is more important. Let's go. Wang Zhong did not speak. He only felt that this person was a little strange, but he could not put his finger on it. As the three of them walked, Wang Zhong looked at the scholarly man, and still felt that something was strange. Thus he asked, What's your name? Why did you bring your family here for no reason? My family is from Flat River Town at the foot of the mountain. Flat River Town? I know. 2 months ago there was a flood there. I think it was flooded. Lu Hua said. After that, many people from Flat River Town came to Snow City. Yes, yes. Heroine, you have a good memory. My wife and I did not want to leave, but the water in Flat River Town did not recede. The more we left, the fewer people there were. Our few mu of land was flooded in the end. Seeing that there was not much food left at home, we could only come here. As he spoke, the forest became denser. However, a small path appeared in front of them. This path looked very spacious. The path was paved with stones. At a glance, it was obvious that this was the home of a rich family. Finally, a huge house appeared in front of the three of them. There was a black plaque with 3 words written on it. Gao Village. This is the Gao Village. You tricked us by bringing us here. Lu Hua's anger immediately rose. She pulled out her sword. Although she and Wang Zhong had originally planned to come here, this was different from being tricked. Moreover, they had originally planned to walk past the Gao village. They did not expect to enter it. Plop. The scholar knelt down again and kowtowed. He cried and shouted, Heroes, I did not mean to trick you. It's just that my wife and child are inside. I beg you to save them. As he spoke, they heard the cries of a woman and a baby coming from inside the Gao village. The scholar said nervously, Listen, that's my wife and child crying. Heroes, saving a life is better than building a 7-storied pagoda. I beg you, I'll go in with you. What if there's danger? Although Lu Hua wanted to save them, she did not want to take the risk for no reason. Don't worry. To tell you the truth, that evil being left just now. I hid in the bushes and saw it with my own eyes. There were too many loopholes in this person's words. Wang Zhong looked at him and said, "You said you're a refugee, but I see that you're fat. You don't look malnourished at all. I'm afraid you've been living a good life." The scholar was stunned. What are you talking about? I was just saying that it was strange. You said you're a refugee. Not only do you not have much luggage, but you're also quite fat. Tell me the truth, why did you lead us here?" Lu Huo questioned. "If you don't want to save them, then forget it. I'll go in and save them." The scholar gritted his teeth. "Anyway, that evil being has already left. There must be a lot of belongings left behind by the passers-by. I'll go in and take them myself and save them." The scholar walked straight in. "This guy wants to lead us in," Wang Zhong said. "Let's go. The Gaojia village is too famous. We'll take a detour and return to the village first." Lu Hu thought about it, but still did not dare to go in. However, at this moment, a series of voices suddenly came from inside. "Xiaohua! Xiaohua! Lu Hua! Your aunt is here." "Xiaohua, I'm your uncle." "Uncle." Lu Hu was not the only one who heard this voice. Wang Zhong also heard it very clearly. "Aunt, uncle." Lu Hu's delicate body trembled. They're inside. Don't be seduced. This is fake." Wang Zhong pulled Lu Hu back. "It's fake, but this voice is real. Their souls seem to be inside," Wang Zhong said solemnly. "Something captured their souls after killing them." Chapter 146. Xiaohua, 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 Xiaohua. The cries grew louder and louder. Lu Hu gritted her teeth and said, "The evil beings inside not only killed people but also captured their souls. No, I have to save them." Lu Hu immediately walked in. Wang Zhong thought for a moment. He had a trump card in his hand, so he was not afraid. So he entered the house with Lu Hua. The first place they entered was a large front yard. There were several big trees in front of the yard that were covered in white silk. Unfortunately, the white silk had faded due to the passage of time. Rustle, a gentle breeze blew, and the white silk fluttered. Many of the wooden doors in front of them had collapsed and were leaning to the side. Lu Hu looked around and said, "I heard that this Gaojia village used to have a lot of people. I didn't expect it to be so dilapidated now. Look in front." Wang Zhong pointed inside the house. "There are so many coffins. No one came to collect their bodies after they died," Lu Hu said. Inside the house, there were 18 large coffins neatly arranged in the hall. The cries had disappeared, leaving only the sound of the wind. The atmosphere was very strange. "I don't know where that guy went. Is he with the evil beings here?" Lu Hu said. Wang Zhong scanned his surroundings. He could see evil creatures wandering around the corners. Unfortunately, these evil creatures were the most basic and ordinary evil creatures. They didn't even have intelligence. Thus, even if he caught them, he wouldn't be able to get anything useful out of them. Swoosh. At that moment, Lu Hu pulled out her sword and stabbed it into a coffin. "Let's see if there's a human or a ghost inside." Stare, stare. At that moment, heavy footsteps came from outside the door. Lu Hu subconsciously stopped. Wang Zhong looked outside and saw a fat woman with a strong body walk in. "Have you seen my husband? I'm lost. I can't find him." The fat woman looked to be in her 40s. Her skin was rough, but her eyes were big. She looked at Wang Zhong and Lu Hu with fear. Lu Hu didn't expect to meet another person. She felt that it was inconceivable. Didn't they say that a lot of people died in the Gaojia village? Many people didn't dare to pass through here. But now she actually met two people at once. But no matter what, the person opposite her was a real person. She hurriedly said, "We just came here. This place is not clean. You should leave quickly." "Is it not clean? Then where should I go? I don't know this place." The fat woman's eyes lit up. "Can I go with you?" "All right then, but don't wander off." "Yes, yes." The fat woman hurriedly nodded. She looked around and said in surprise, "Ayaya, this is my first time coming to such a rich family. It's a pity that people seem to have died here. There are so many coffins." The fat woman didn't seem to be afraid at all. She walked all the way and pushed open the door to the backyard. Suddenly she was stunned. "Ah!" the fat woman screamed. "Hero, hero, come and see." Lu Hua chased after him and saw dried corpses hanging in the backyard behind the gate. It was as if they had been made into cured meat. There were men and women among these corpses. There were even children. As for the scholar, he was shivering and hiding in the room. He looked at the fat woman with fear in his eyes. "So you're here?" Lu Hua looked at the scholar and was about to walk over. But at this time, Wang Zhong pulled Lu Hua and shook his head. Lu Hua was very smart. She immediately understood that danger was coming, but she didn't know where the danger was. "Strength talisman." Wang Zhong didn't reply. He threw a talisman straight at the fat woman. Bang! The talisman exploded in the air before it could reach her. It didn't have any effect. "You evil creature, you really like to act. You opened the door yourself, and even pretended to be afraid. Interesting." Although the talisman didn't have any effect, Wang Zhong wasn't in a hurry. He looked at the fat woman indifferently. "She's an evil creature?" Lu Hua looked at the fat woman in surprise. In fact, when she met the scholar and the fat woman, she was also vigilant. But under observation, the two of them had corporeal bodies. In other words, they couldn't be ghosts. That was why she didn't think much of them. Wang Zhong didn't reply. The fat woman in front of him laughed. "I still want to rear a few more livestock." "Livestock?" Wang Zhong and Lu Hua raised their brows. "I understand. The corpses you hung up are for you to eat," Wang Zhong said. "What the hell are you?" Lu Hua took a step forward and shouted. "Ha ha ha ha. It doesn't matter what I am. What's important is that you stay here. I haven't eaten tender meat in a long time. Liang, you did the right thing. You helped me lure these two people here." The scholar was called Liang. He trembled when he heard that, but he still said, "There's no need." "You're welcome. So you are this evil creature's accomplice." Lu Hua's eyes were filled with anger. I knew something was wrong with him. If not for the fact that we were coming here, I would have gotten rid of him long ago, Wang Zhong said indifferently. "Liang, so they discovered you a long time ago," shouted the fat woman. "Great immortal, I didn't know." Liang shouted in horror. Useless thing. I thought these two people were lured here by you." The fat woman turned to look at the scholar. "Great immortal, I sigh, forget it. I'll spare you." The scholar was overjoyed. "Thank you, great immortal. Thank you, great immortal." "You're welcome. I'll give you another gift to reunite you with your wife and daughter. How about that?" Hearing that, Liang froze on the spot, as though he had heard the most terrifying thing. No, I don't want to die." "Ha ha ha," the fat woman laughed. In front of Liang, the hanging corpses of a child and a woman swayed slightly. They had been turned into such a state. "Great immortal, I've been working for you for so long. I've even given you my wife and daughter. You can't do this to me. You're just an animal in my eyes. You're already 29 years old. If I keep raising you, you'll be 30 years old. When that time comes, your meat will turn old and your taste will change. Alright, an animal has to look like an animal. Otherwise, why do you think I've raised you for so long and fed you good food and drinks every day? Why? Whoosh. Suddenly, the fat woman's hand elongated and grabbed Liang. "Forget it. Even if I explain it to an animal like you probably won't understand. Tonight, I'll cook braised thigh." Pfft. With a gentle squeeze of her hand, she instantly crushed Liang's head. "Alright, it's your turn." The fat woman giggled. In an instant, the door outside closed. "Don't worry. I've been enjoying fresh food lately, so I won't kill you. I'll keep you alive for now." Chapter 147. After all this time, you killed people for these. Wang Zhong looked at the countless corpses in front of him and said, "I'm just learning from you humans. You raise so many livestock for food. As the saying goes, food is the most important thing for people. I'm doing the same as you. I'm doing this for survival." The fat woman spoke frankly with assurance. "That's the reason. Unfortunately, in this world, people are flourishing. You won't be able to cultivate the great Tao by doing this." Wang Zhong had read Gao Jinren's Taoist books, so he understood some of the principles of cultivation. Ha ha ha, what bullshit people are flourishing. Are you saying that only you can eat us and we can't eat you? The fat woman looked up to the sky and roared. In an instant, a chilly wind blew in the courtyard. Not good. This demon is going to cast a spell. Lu Hua anxiously took out 2 protective talismans. However, she did not expect that Wang Zhong had already taken out the protective talismans and threw them forward. The chilly wind immediately flew around them. You do have some skills. It's been a long time since I ate someone with skills. The fat woman laughed. Her body grew bigger and bigger. The originally fat woman's body grew bigger again, like a huge fat pig. Come here. The fat woman stretched out her huge palm, ready to grab Wang Zhong and Lu Hua. This demon is probably a pig demon. That's why she's so big. Wang Zhong's face turned cold. I'm afraid she swallowed a lot of people. Facing the palm, Wang Zhong immediately raised his sword and slashed. Sizzle upon contact. The fat woman's palm immediately melted and turned into a pig trotter. Green smoke came out of the pig trotter, and it immediately shrank back. Lu Hua was not to be outdone. She immediately attacked the fat woman from the side. Scram! The fat woman suddenly shouted, and a fishy smell sprayed at Lu Hua. It's poison! Lu Hua sniffed a little, and felt her body gradually turn numb. She quickly shouted, Calm Heart Incantation! Wang Zhong chanted, and threw the talisman at Lu Hua. In an instant, a Sanskrit word entered Lu Hua's forehead. Lu Hua only felt that his originally numb body had more or less recovered. Die! After saving Lu Hua, Wang Zhong threw the strength talisman in his hand at the demon pig, as if it was free. Bang! 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 Streams of fiery light exploded around the pig demon, making it roar out in anger. With the sound of the explosion, the woman's face gradually grew bigger. First, her ears grew bigger like cattail leaf fans. Then his nose, mouth, and his entire head suddenly became several times bigger. Roar! The pig opened its huge mouth, revealing rows of sharp and black teeth. Then, it abruptly spat out a mouthful of black smoke. You broke my body. I'm not going to raise you anymore. I want you to die immediately. The pig demon roared angrily, and its body began to expand rapidly. Its hands and feet turned into pig hooves, and it stood on all fours. Looking at its body now, it had become the size of an off-road vehicle. Dong dong dong. In the blink of an eye, the pig demon's huge body charged toward them. Wang Zhong was overjoyed. If this pig demon kept using poison, it would be very troublesome for him. However, since it was a competition of strength, he was still confident. The strength chi he had cultivated could now break a large tree with a single punch. So in principle, it was even more powerful. Tiger form fist! Wang Zhong shouted, and a tiger head flew out from Wang Zhong's fist. The reason why Wang Zhong used the tiger form fist was because he knew that tigers were the king of all beasts. Even if it was a virtual tiger, it could still make the pig demon feel fear from its soul. As expected, the pig demon's eyes narrowed in the next moment, and its charging body suddenly stopped. Its pig face was filled with shock. Tiger! Tiger! With this pause, the tiger head opened its huge mouth and pounced over. Bam! The pig demon's huge body was sent flying, and finally, it crashed into the room where the corpses were stored. The corpses in the room were scattered all over the floor. Tiger, why is there a tiger? The pig demon struggled to get up, and looked at Wang Zhong in horror. You're a tiger demon? Wang Zhong climbed down the pole. That's right. After that, he lightly punched twice, and 2 more tiger heads were sent flying. Seeing this, the pig demon turned pale with fright. In front of a tiger, it did not dare to resist at all. It was directly sent flying. After landing, the pig demon's legs turned to jelly. With a plop, it lay on all fours on the ground, not daring to move at all. Xiaodong, what's wrong with the pig demon? Lu Hua asked in surprise. Tigers are the king of all beasts. When ordinary animals see tigers, they won't move. At this moment, Wang Zhong recalled a piece of news from the past. It was said that a tiger had escaped from a zoo. In order to capture the tiger, the police had sent out well-trained police dogs. However, During the process of capturing the tiger, the usually powerful police dog's legs turned to jelly when faced with the tiger. They refused to approach the tiger no matter what. This was actually the fear that came from the genes of animals. Even in the harsh jungle, ferocious wolves and jackals would not be willing to face a tiger directly. Basically, when they saw a tiger, they would take a detour. Although the pig demon in front of him had entered the demonic path, its genes had not changed. If it had encountered an ordinary tiger, the pig demon might not have been afraid. However, when it encountered the tiger transformed from Wang Zhong's chi, the strength in the tiger form made the pig demon feel fear deep in its soul. "Spare me, Lord Tiger, please spare me. I failed to recognize Mount Tai and offended you. Please forgive me." The pig demon was so scared that it did not dare to move. It began to beg for mercy. "Xiao Dong, this pig demon has harmed countless people. Kill it," Lu Hua said. Wang Zhong nodded. Just as he was about to make a move, the pig demon cried and shouted, "It's not easy for me to cultivate. Lord Tiger, please spare me. I'll serve you even if I have to be a cow or a horse. Spare me." It seemed that the pig demon had been in human form for quite some time. Its words were actually eloquent. Originally, Wang Zhong did want to get rid of the pig demon. However, from the looks of it, he changed his mind. He still had to deal with those masters and powerful forces in the future. He was alone and was still too weak. He would need a lot of help. Although the pig demon had harmed countless people, Wang Zhong was not a good person either. His goal was very simple, which was to survive for himself and his family. In order to achieve this goal, he had to use some unconventional methods. However, there was a prerequisite. He had to be 100% sure that he could control the pig demon. Wang Zhong's eyes flashed. He said, "How can I be sure that you won't betray me if I keep you alive?" The pig demon immediately stopped talking and looked away. Since he could not control the pig demon, Wang Zhong naturally did not believe that it would be a cow or a horse. Therefore, he raised the bronze sword and said, "Forget it. If I can't control it, I'll just kill it." Seeing the sword fall, the pig demon hurriedly shouted, "Wait, I'll give you a wisp of my soul. Will that work?" Wang Zhong asked Lu Hua. Lu Hua frowned and said, "I'm not sure, but I heard from the captain that some people with special abilities can indeed control some evil beings. I don't know how they do it." Wang Zhong did not have any other ideas, but he decided to take a gamble. Firstly, the pig demon was indeed very useful to him. Secondly, he could rewind. He could afford to lose. Then he punched the wall not far away. In an instant, the wall collapsed. When the pig demon saw the tiger head again, it trembled and said in horror, "Lord Tiger, I'm telling the truth." After that, it spat out a mouthful of blood. A fat black mist flew out of the pig demon's head. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.